Okay, looking at all of our settings here, I think we are live. So let's begin. It's been a while. I'm gonna wait for some people to join in. But yeah, it's been quite a few months since we've done this last time. In fact, I think the only times I did videos prior, they were like little pre-recorded videos, which weren't quite the same. I'm drinking some coffee right now, café con leche, and let's see if anyone has any questions or anything that we want to go over. I'm down to talk about whatever. Yeah, jump in the comment sections. Oh, this is a great question. So, El Padrino says, Witzke, or however the hell you pronounce that Polish last name, I have no clue how, but it's referring to that one racist woman who ran for, I think she ran for Congress in 2020 and she like lost horribly. But yeah, this girl or this woman, she ran for Congress on like the whole MAGA thing in 2020, failed horribly, and now she's like a Twitter racist basically. Like I think like around 3 times a week she usually posts like some sort of cringe meme about how like the Aztec Empire got defeated by Republicans or some shit. And yeah, she is bending over and taking that Chicano D, but this isn't anything new for her. If you actually look at her biography, prior to her running for Congress, she was actually a drug runner for a Mexican drug cartel. I don't think she ever got caught or arrested or anything like that, but yeah, she was definitely bending over for that Chicano D prior, and she's doing that now. So yeah, let's see what else we have. Can't wait for OG to return. I agree. Yo, what up? You've returned. I have returned, Wayne. Let's see what else we have here. What happened to a lot of your old videos? I don't know. I just took a lot of them down. I wish I could redo a lot of them because I feel like with all the knowledge that I have now, it would have been way better making those videos. Why come back on the internet? I've always been on the internet. I still check in on Twitter. I still message people on Telegram. I just haven't been as active on as like on YouTube. And for the best, honestly. I think it was better to just absorb Colombia for like almost a year before making more videos and live streams. The Republicans defeated the Aztecs, lol. Well, there's like there's like these memes that they spread where it's like the human sacrifices must stop, or here comes the far right, and it's like a bunch of conquistadors walking over to the Aztecs. It's super juvenile shit, to be quite honest with you. And one thing that I don't really like is you see like a lot of mainstream conservative voices. People like Matt Walsh. You guys have probably heard of Matt Walsh. He basically just talks about trans people all day, but when he's not doing that, he sometimes like says like racist shit about Mexicans, or he talks about how awesome. Like the other day, he posted about how Hernan Cortez was like one of the best people to ever live, even though this guy like knows nothing about Hernan Cortez and like how sophisticated he really was, and how much he actually loved the indigenous cultures that resided in Mexico. Hernan himself learned how to speak Nahuatl. He wanted to create a mestizo monarchy and have his son as the king of that monarchy. And he he wasn't the way a lot of these people portray Hernan Cortez. Not at all. Even a lot of people who are very educated about Mexico, like there's a lot of shit libby Mexicans who, when they learn enough about Hernan Cortez, it's like very hard for them, to hate Hernan the way it is for like somebody that knows absolutely nothing about this. Because Hernan was super, he loved the Nahuas a lot. You can argue that the Spanish Empire later on was a lot shittier than the conquistadors, and I would probably argue that too, but the conquistadors were much cooler people than like the people that were running the Spanish Empire in like the 1700s and 1800s, for example. Let's see here. We got Isidore, our favorite Iberian from Australia. The Black Jewish King is back. Yes, he is back. Let's see. Let's see what else we have here. So I put in the StreamYard link to a few places. Um, and I'll probably share it with this stream at some point as well. If you guys, if we get like 15 live viewers, I'll probably open up the stream for everybody. As long as you can manage to not act like a monkey for 5 seconds, which I know is going to be a challenge for some of you. Do you still live in Colombia? Yes, I do. I live in Valle de Cauca right now. I actually just got back from my vacation in Medellin. And that's a very interesting place in itself. But yeah, my perspective has changed 100%. Not 100%, no, I'm exaggerating. But no, when you live in the country that your parents left, you realize why your parents left the country. And Colombia has a lot of problems, and I'd be happy to go into those problems. Mostly because the problems that affect Colombia aren't particularly unique to Colombia either. These are problems that plague places from Mexico to Nicaragua to Honduras to El Salvador to what else do we have? To all the way pretty much down to Argentina. Argentina right now is doing horribly. In fact, if I wanted to be like, if I wanted to maximize how much money I have in American dollars, it would probably be best to live in like Argentina or Venezuela right now and not in Colombia. Inflation is so ridiculous in Argentina, and its money is so weak compared to the dollar that I could live in Buenos Aires for probably $600 a month and do well. Now, if you guys are interested in like how you actually want, for example, if you're thinking about living in Latin America, like and working remotely, I am more than happy with answering all of those questions because I learned a lot of these things the hard way, like a lot of them. So let's see what we have here. Jeffrey Echeverria says, I am not sure how much Anglo conservatives would have liked Hernan Cortez. That man promoted hardcore race mixing like Rome or Greece. And yeah, you do see some similarities in, for example, Alexander the Great and in Hernan Cortez, for example. Alexander the Great, he had this mindset when he was invading places like Afghanistan, for example, that if you're going to invade these places, you need to like in order for the rulers to have the best interest of everybody, the common peoples in mind, you have to mix with the people that are also there. I don't have the exact passage in front of me, but I was reading like a book on that, and basically the reasoning was exactly that. It was that these natives of Afghanistan felt like these Greek rulers were more sympathetic to the interests of the people that belonged to there when they were married to people and had kids with people that were from there. And that makes a lot of sense. And that's not something that's unique to Spain. It goes all the way back to times of antiquity. Then we have Intrepid Jaguar being a bitch as usual, always being snarky with me, saying he's homesick. That's why he's back to streaming. I'm not really homesick, I wouldn't say. Um, but there are a lot of things that I do like about America that I'm happy to go into that I think I would even say are better than Latin America or Colombia specifically. So let's see what we have. Are you keeping this stream up? Welcome back, by the way. Thank you, Puerto Rican. Just because I forgot what your name is. I think it's Percy. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'll leave it up. Might as well. A lot of people aren't there when it's live. So yeah, absolutely. I'll leave it up. Alexander married a brown girl. He did. He did. What was the biggest challenge / difficulty in the first few months? Fantastic question. I'll be happy to jump into that. So, I'd say the biggest challenge is like having super, super, super shitty Spanish. Because, like, it's no secret to everybody here. Like I could not speak Spanish very well in the slightest whenever I arrived in Colombia. I had a sort of baptism by fire situation where it's like you spent 26 years dicking around, doing all of these things. You weren't taught Spanish because you grew up in Chicago and because of other reasons that I'm not going to really go into here. But the reasons are important. There's a lot of people in the United States who have parents from Latin America who just don't speak Spanish very well. Probably have people on this live stream that are like that too. And if you're going to speak Spanish, I don't think I don't think Spanish classes are the way to really go with mastering Spanish. Now, I will say this. I do think that if you take Spanish classes and you study very hard, you do homework every day, and you watch Netflix like in Spanish with Spanish subtitles religiously, and you try speaking Spanish as much as you can learn a lot. But at some point, I think you really need to live in a country where people only speak Spanish to get to the final level of fluency. And the way I speak Spanish now compared to 10 months ago is like night and day. Like a lot of people are very surprised by like how much my Spanish has changed. It's quite different. But it's still not perfect. And I'd say I would probably need to keep living here maybe an extra year, maybe two if I want to speak perfectly, like with a Colombian accent and everything, where I sound almost the same as anyone who grew up here. But I'm at the point now, Spanish speaking wise, where people, like everybody knows what I'm trying to say. Everybody knows what I'm trying to say. Sometimes they need to ask me to like repeat what I'm saying, or not sometimes, a lot of times I fuck up my conjugations. Conjugations are really difficult. I think it's the hardest part about learning Spanish, but it's not impossible. And you need to, as well, you need to have a lot of people who are willing to correct you when you're speaking Spanish. If nobody's correcting you while you're speaking, you're going to just keep making a lot of these same mistakes for a long time. So that's what I would say. The biggest challenge is going from people not understanding me at all and vice versa as well. Like trying to listen people talk in Spanish, like compared to like a movie in Spanish or a TV show, to how actual people on the street or in day-to-day life talk is very different. And that's because most people in Latin America aren't educated. They have their colloquials, they have their slangs. A lot of them don't speak the best Spanish either. A lot of them have a lot of special words that you're only going to find in that region of Colombia, for example, or that region of Mexico. And it's hard to learn. mm, so, Nowhere says, what are your thoughts on thinkers like Nick Land? If you don't know who he is or what he believes, I can understand. I don't know who Nick Land is. You're free to like give me a little explanation of who he is in the comments, but I don't know. Yo, is this Fonz?
No, no, this is actually this is Red Vasco.
Yo, what's up, Red Vasca? What's going on, man?
Not much. I'm right here at the house, just chilling. What's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm at my apartment. I'm just chilling. I'm relaxing, and you're actually great for this stream because a lot of what they're asking me, you did the same shit in Mexico, like adapting to living in because you live in Tijuana, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Exactly. So again, there's like a lot of very peculiar things that you need to get used to. For example, like finding work, things like that. So I'll give another example. Um, I highly recommend to everybody here, if you're ever thinking about moving to Latin America, do not come here until like you have a job either online, like completely secure, and you've been working there like minimal like 1 month prior, or you have like a job waiting for you in that country where they've already accepted you. I don't recommend just living on your savings if you're going to move to Latin America. I made that mistake, and it would have been a lot easier for me. Luckily, I had a lot of savings, so it's not a big deal for me. But like, if you don't have like 20, 30 grand just sitting in your bank account, like, I don't recommend just moving there and hoping for the best. You need to have all of that shit sorted out before you come. I don't know. What do you think? Did you have your job when you were ready? like to move to Tijuana, or did you live there for a little bit and then like you found your job there? Like go into that for the audience a little bit if you can.
All right. So when I first moved to TJ, I I was aware that my family members were gonna like allow me to stay at their place for some time, so I was kind of counting on that. And it was kind of difficult to find a job like with the locals. Other than like call center jobs, there wasn't really much for like an English speaker. English is only good for like call center jobs or jobs where you're doing a lot of talking. Like the jobs that the locals are doing, they don't really need. If you're in a tourist area, then they might need English. But there's a lot of locals that also speak English that are ready to fill in those spots. So just thinking that like just off of your English alone, you're gonna find a great job is not very realistic.
No, in fact, I would even argue the opposite. From what I've discovered trying to apply to a lot of places is like, for example, I applied to like teach English in a lot of like cities, for example. And a lot of times they didn't want to hire me because they thought I would expect too much money. They would actually, a lot of these people would prefer to hire a native that speaks like okay English, but they know that they can pay him like the normal amount that you'd expect to make here. So it could actually be to your detriment speaking perfect English and expecting that you're going to be like top priority for a job that requires it. Now, if you're at a call center, I do think, now I could be wrong, but I do think that's like a good situation where like they want someone that speaks perfect English. And if you had to give me an estimate, like how much per month do they pay people like at a random call center job in Mexico?
I would say anywhere from here where I'm at, anywhere from like 2,500 to 3,500 pesos um a week. So
And
that's
that
every
translates to US dollars.
in US dollars. The dollars right now is very low, so I'm not sure. I think it's a lot less than what I have in mind. It's dollars about like 1650 right now. So they want to convert that 3,500 Mexican to divided by 1650, they'll get the answer.
Yeah, now I don't know how like what the cost of living is in Mexico, but I would say this for Colombia. Like in Colombia, I think if you cook most of your meals, you go to the stores and you buy like and you make your own stuff and you don't go out all the time, you could probably make like I could say $600 a month and you'll probably be good. I would recommend though minimum you want to make like $1,000 a month to feel pretty comfortable. I don't recommend making less than that unless you have a lot of savings and you just want to relax though. That's what I would say. I would say there's a lot of things as well, and it's not going to sound flattering, but I want to also talk about the bad things of Colombia. And there's a lot of bad things that I think needs to be talked about. And you'll probably, listening to this, Red Vasco, you'll probably see similarities with Colombia and Mexico. So I'll give an example. Like the current economic situation in Colombia is out of control. You see homeless people everywhere. You see people that, how do I put it? Like just beg for money everywhere, that try to just sell you useless shit on the street or while you're eating. How much of that do you see in Tijuana? I'm just curious.
Actually, it's very common, right? So you have people like at like the stores, like the grocery stores, or like just like the liquor stores. What they're basically liquor stores, the convenience stores, and people will stand outside of the door and they will kind of hold the door, and they'll like when you're on your way out, they'll ask you for some change, or like you're saying, like you'll be eating at a random taco stand, and you'll have people walk up to you trying to sell you like things that they have, like random like items. And you also have a lot of begging here. It's I think there's a system to it. There was a guy on YouTube. He's a very popular Mexican influencer. and he was on this podcast and he was being interviewed, and then they started talking about indigenous women that are seen asking people for money in Mexico,
We have a lot of that here, even in my town. That's interesting.
and the guy said that he noticed that some of these women, they have like children, and then he once encountered a child and a woman that were indigenous, and he said that the child looked like he was on drugs, and so he was kind of like going where he was going with this was that he believes that these children might be like they're given like sleeping medicine so they can be on the lady's back while she's begging for money for 2 3 hours.
Yeah, so Colombia has way less indigenous people than Mexico, but like even in smaller towns, especially in big cities, you see it's not that uncommon to see like an indigenous woman. She's got like 3 or 4 kids and she's just sitting there begging for money. And I'm going to be quite honest, those kids are probably all have different fathers too. Like it's a shit show. And it's not just indigenous women either. I mean, you see it with all the people here in Colombia, including people that look quote unquote white. But yeah, it's a big problem here. And I think the reason you don't see as many homeless people that are Hispanic in the United States for now is because like Hispanics are the labor force and whites are the people that are kind of dying off and blacks as well. But yeah, I think as time goes on, you'll see a lot more homeless Hispanic Americans. At least that's what I think. What about you?
I think so. I think that's kind of like it's a cool like hypothesis. I think I kind of agree with it. I think that as we grow as a population, we're in the United States, Hispanics are still going to be affected by a lot of the things that are affecting white and Black Americans and even other Americans, right? All Americans. So they,
Yeah.
they are going to kind of be affected by this homelessness issue, the drug abuse issue, and a lot of them are going to end up on the street.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now, let's see what we have here. There's a lot of homeless now in the United States. China should be the model, as in 40 years. They are wealthy now. Again, I'm not sure. I haven't been to China. I can tell you this from what I've heard, and what concerns me a lot about the future is like I am worried that Chinese people are just going to start doing what they can to exploit everything they can in Latin America, especially in countries where they're more welcome, like Venezuela. I've heard from Venezuelans that I've talked to saying that there's like a lot of Chinese people, like, trying to set up businesses, trying to just utilize the natural resources that the people living in Latin America don't use. And I don't think it's a good thing for, white Americans or for Chinese people to be trying to do that. But at the same time, if intelligent white and Chinese people are gonna, if they're gonna do this, it's because our elites in Latin America allow it to happen in the first place. So it is what it is. It's an intelligent decision on their end if that's what they want to do. So let's see here. In majority Hispanic areas, you see more black and white homeless people. Yeah, I have seen that, generally speaking. Like when I was in Los Angeles, the both times I went, mostly blacks and whites that I saw doing that. Mm, we have Wayne Brown here. They hold the door for you at Oxos or they clean the outside of your stores. I've seen that they hold the door for taxis a lot too. Like they'll hold the door for you and you'll expect that like they'll get paid like whatever change you have in your pocket. In Mexico, the natives have babies with them and ask for money. Yeah, I would imagine that happens. So we have here, it says Nick Land believes that capitalism is a form of artificial intelligence that will replace humanity as the prime mover of the economy. He's basically an anti humanist post leftist. I mean, I don't know. This seems. I have no idea what the future holds. I'm just not optimistic about it. Let's see here. I live in a Hispanic community and all the LA handlers are white, sometimes black. Okay. And then we say, it says here, I think the Chinese are artlessly exploiting Argentina. They grow their meat in Argentina to avoid the negatives of industrial agriculture. I've also heard that Chinese send like huge naval like vessels for fishing in these sorts of like waters where a lot of like Argentinian fishermen would go to fish, and it's like fucking them over like a lot, but the government of Argentina can't do anything basically. Mm, let's see here. What should the solutions for Iberia America? What should be the solutions for Iberian America to stop living in third world nations? Mm, like to make these countries better. I mean, I think the first thing you have to do is like kind of the shit that Bukele is doing in El Salvador. It's like you need to stop the crime shit. Like it's just that has to stop. The people need to know that they can leave their house, they can go to work, they can go shopping, and then relax at night and go out to eat without having to deal with bullshit like getting robbed. I think is like
I think,
step one.
yeah, I agree with that. And I live in Mexico, so the crime is pretty bad here. It's very organized and very well structured. So, and it's also systematic. And from what I've seen is like this the criminal element in Latin America. It affects like the collective psyche of all the people that live in Latin America. It's to that point. It's really bad. And in the U.S., you kind of you have a lot of criminal, but there's also a lot of like you do have a lot of like security and there's if you look around you'll find like a nice area here in Mexico. Even the nice areas are full of organized crime. It's just very bad.
Yeah, and like the thing is in Latin America, from what I've seen, at least in Colombia, is you can be in the nicest or one of the nicest parts of a city, but you walk like 5 minutes and it's just like shithole apartments, slums, all of this. And these people can walk around. Like it's not like they're just physically restrained from entering these areas as well. It's just that there's worse consequences if they do things like that. But it's like I've heard even in nicer parts of these cities, like a lot of bad things can still happen if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's sort of the thing. Mm, so that Chornizo nationalist says develop their own industries. First thing is stopping crime. So yeah. And another thing that really sucks with Latin America in general is like the geography in a lot of these countries is really bad. And it's like I don't know how it is with Mexico, but like with Colombia, for example, like if you're going to Medellin, which I was just at, like if you're entering and you're leaving Medellin, it's so obvious based on like all the trucks and all the cars that are coming in and out and like all the mountains you have to go through and everything that like there's way too many people here for like what this land was supposed to have, if that makes sense. It's like you feel like people there's way too many people.
Yeah,
And
are you living in a municipality? Is that what it is, or is it an actual city?
I live in yeah, like what you said. Like I live in a town that's like smaller and it's really close to the city of Cali.
Cali. All right. Yeah. So you're, yeah. I've noticed that in a municipality, like these like small towns that are not like these like urbanized cities, but a lot of them are really packed. That's the thing, like
Oh
these
yeah, dude.
towns, these municipalities have more people than because if people see that things are good, going good, economy's good in a certain municipality, they will move there because things are booming, and this will kind of like make it feel very crowded. You know what I'm saying?
100%, dude. You'll see people from other parts of that country swarm in. You'll see people from other countries even like swarming in. I don't know how it is with Mexico, but like Colombia is filled with people from Venezuela, and you see them everywhere. And they have like a horrible reputation here. But I would
Oh
imagine.
God, you have me thinking about the Colombian Venezuelan hybrids now.
So tell me more about that. How are you seeing that in Mexico?
There's so where I live in the city that is the most gentrified out of all the cities in Mexico. So we have gentrification is really bad. So we do have a lot of Americans. In fact, we have so many Americans that here where I'm at, we have homeless Americans, and I always just like go crazy trying to figure out how this like homeless person who obviously looks like they're on drugs. they're obviously like they're talking out loud in public, right? They're having like schizophrenic rants. How is it that they were able to like cross the border into Mexico, and how did they ever get back? Like, do these homeless people ever make it back to the United States, or do they just stay in TJ? Like, what happens to these people? I could never understand that. That's how bad it is here with Americans. We have even homeless Americans. We have all kinds of Americans, but we even have homeless Americans here.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah, it's not like that here in Colombia. We don't have that yet, but the Americans here have a pretty bad reputation, I would say. People do not like them. I can go more into detail like that because I was just in the American part of Medellin as well. I visited the El Poblado for a day, and yeah, it's like I see why white Americans are not liked there. And you'll probably see a lot of similarities in how I'm describing things as well. So I'll jump into Wayne Brown's question, but let me talk a little bit about why Americans are not liked in Medellin. So in Medellin, it's kind of, and again, this is gonna upset some Colombians listening, but I really don't care. It's the truth, and I'm not here to coddle people from Latin America or from the United States. I'm gonna tell it how I see it. Medellin is a city filled with corruption, filled with vice, filled with sex shops on every corner, filled with drugs, and filled with people that are proud of people like Pablo Escobar. And as a result, Americans have found out about this and they want to go and they go to the nicest part of Medellin, which is El Poblado. They go to live there. They usually have a remote job that they work, probably in tech is most of the time what they're doing. And what these people will end up doing, and this was something very interesting that I was observing, and you probably see a lot of this in Mexico. So please tell me if you've seen this too. It's that how do I put this? I saw a lot of like Americans who had like a Colombian girlfriend and they can't even speak Spanish with their girlfriend. Now, like, do you see that in Mexico?
Yeah. You see it. It's very common to see like these like Anglo Americans walking around with like these very young, most of the time, very pretty Mexican girls, and you know you kind of know that it's not a genuine thing. Like, I think it's very obvious. Like, you can tell, and it's like it's completely normal. Like, no one, the locals don't see it. I don't don't. It's I think there's a mutual understanding between these girls and these Americans that everything is like not genuine. It's just like for the benefit of both parties.
Well, I would say this. I think some of these guys are genuinely delusional, but the girls understand that they're here to collect money. They see these guys as a human ATM machine. And the thing is with these girls is they can keep talking to all the guys that they want on their Instagram, on their WhatsApp. This guy can't even check her phone and read like her messages. Like she's totally playing him. And I saw this like so much in Medellin when I would just see these guys with these girls, and it's like you can't even like I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to go into like pickup artist shit here. That's not what this channel is about. But it's like if you're gonna go, first off, let me say this: if you're spent all of your life in the United States and you've dated women, you have a sort of general idea of how attractive you are, how charismatic you are, and what types of girls you can pull. All right? We have girls that are in our league, girls that are out of our league, these sorts of things. We're not stupid. And what I'm going to say is if you're an American and you're not able to pull girls that are way out of your league, and you think you can do that in Colombia, like you're just stupid. It's not going to be genuine if you don't have the charisma and the ability to talk and I guess sort of court with people the way that you do in the United States. So I would say a lot of this like a lot of these problems that I see with these Americans that are in Colombia, they sort of delude themselves into thinking that just because they're American that they can just pull any girl they want, she's going to be loyal, she'll be traditional. That's just laughable. And the vast majority of young Colombian girls are not traditional in the slightest. These are girls that have a lot of experience with other guys. I'll just put it that way. And it's their life; they can do whatever they want. But I don't think Mexico might be different, but Colombia really does not have traditional girls. Like these
Right.
are modern girls. Yeah.
I completely understand what you're talking about. This whole like stereotype that people believe about Hispanic and Latina women in general is like the Latina women are submissive, traditional, family orientated, and that's kind of like not the reality we're living in Latin America. If you live in Latin America, you kind of know how the situation is with the women, how feminism it's very radical here. There's not just that, right? Also, there's these women they've never been to the United States, and they have this completely different idea of how things work in the United States. So a lot of them they find these like American ideologies attractive, and that's kind of like what they're striving to be. Like in their mind, they're striving to be the as liberal as the Americans. And these guys that think that they're gonna come here to find like a traditional and submissive Latina girl, these guys don't know what they're in for. They're in for
No.
quite a treat.
And here's the thing: these girls exist, like these traditional girls. But like, here's the thing: you're not gonna find them in a giant city filled with expats, for starters. They're gonna be living with their parents, and unless like you know them by knowing like people that are like that live a good life that isn't filled with like degeneracy and with vice, which is increasingly rare in Latin America, and these people can introduce like this girl to you, you're never gonna have that girl.
Yeah, those girls kind of they marry the traditional guys that are around them, right? They don't
Yeah.
marry like the American degenerate that got tired of being a degenerate and that just wanted to become traditional all of a sudden.
And I include Hispanic Americans as well with
I
that, not even just white
100%
ones.
agree.
So let me answer some more questions here. Do they see you as an American? Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is a lot of them, it's like they see me as American, but like with like an asterisk. It's like I look like one of them, and they kind of like treat me a little bit differently as a result of that, in the way that they would treat someone that looks like he's like John Smith, who has like blonde hair, if that makes sense to you. At the same time, a lot of people often think I'm an immigrant from like another country. People have asked me the most popular place where people think like I'm an immigrant from before I tell them I'm from Chicago is usually from like Lebanon, from like Turkey, from sometimes Italy. But a lot of times they don't think I'm American until I explain this to them. They think like I'm a foreigner from like another place. And in most places in Colombia, they're used to people from places like Germany or Italy or Holland or places like that living there for a little bit. So it's not like these people have never seen people outside of Latin America. They do. Like we live in a world where you can pay a few hundred dollars, and you can boom just arrive in this this place in Latin America that used to be geographically isolated from everyone else for most of history. So you're not that special anymore being a foreigner, is what I would say. Now, let me see what we have here. Billy, I remember like over a year ago, you described going to Colombia, that it was heavily affected by the sexual revolution. Yeah, it absolutely is. Did you see many Afro Colombians? So I live in the blackest part of Colombia, Valle de Cauca. So yeah, I see them all the time. They're everywhere. They're in my neighborhood, and I live in a nice neighborhood. They're in my neighborhood. They're everywhere. Like in I know Mexico, it's hard for you guys to believe, but like there are literally people that look more or less 80 to 90% white or 80 to 90% black that
Yeah.
walk around Colombia. But they're culturally like anyone else that you'd see here. Oh, we have an extra guest on the stream. You guys might like this. Welcome.
Yo, 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 what up?
What's going on?
What's Gucci, man? We haven't done this in a long ass time, bro.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Sorry if there's too much noise. I don't the noises. I got my AC on full blast, so it's fucking hot as fuck in California right now.
Oh, I bet.
It's pretty bad, bro. Anyways, bro, I heard you guys were talking about hoes.
We were, and yeah, a lot of these guys have this idea that Colombia and Mexico are filled with like just traditional girls on every corner, and it's like, yeah, that's not the
The
situation.
girls just thirsting, waiting for a gringo to save them.
They don't want to be saved.
I mean, they might be looking for a gringo to fucking save their bills and their fucking living expenses. They're
Yeah.
looking to save on their fucking net costs that comes out of their pockets. That's for sure. But
No, it does.
yeah, these gringos have a big delusion about how reality works. Well, we know that. We already knew that.
It does.
What's up, big dog? How's Mexico, man?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, dog.
Hey, you sound fine.
All right. Mexico's all right. It's all right. I think I just have to figure out how to, master the free market here, and that's it's something I've been doing. I've had different jobs. I've 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 tried like different little things like to make money, like having my
Right.
own little businesses, and I just haven't got the right recipe. But it's not like I live a horrible life. I actually live a pretty good life. I have a pretty good quality of life.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. You just keep fucking tinkering with it, man. It's business is fucking hard, bro. Like it's a lot of lessons you got to pay to learn, and that's what it is. Either you pay it by going to business school with I would say limited learning outcomes, or you pay it by spending time, money, and energy trying to fucking figure it out. But that's good, bro. I'm gonna come out there and see you again pretty soon, man. We'll set something up. Remember, I made a business contact last time I was there.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
I don't know if you've seen that dude again. But anyways, Billy, how's how was Medellin now that you're back in where you're at?
I feel like it got way worse from like the time I went like 8 months ago.
When the first time you came out?
Yeah, like the whole entirety of Colombia feels so much worse now than it did when I first arrived here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing too, man.
But like,
I've been
yeah,
saying it for a while, but so now you're seeing it though. Now
people don't
it's
listen.
more obvious.
People don't listen until it actually comes true to you. That's this thing.
Yeah. No, because I've been hearing it, through my wife's family, and I keep seeing more and more of them. I guess make the journey up here, and I'm like, well, some of these people are coming out here, and these people have the means, to come out here. I can only imagine what it's like for the people who don't have the means, right?
Yes. I actually wanted to answer a question for someone in the chat. Someone asked something about what Tercio said. Let me pull it up here. Okay, so it says here, Guillermo, when Tercio's and OG's stream said Latin America is better to live in America, be honest. Now that you lived here, would you disagree that it's the best place? So Noel and I have visited Tercio in real life. We know what his town's like. He lives in a beautiful place, but here's the thing about Tercio. Tercio works a very, very good, well-paying job that allows him to live in a very, very nice part of Peru. And this sort of goes back as to what I was saying. If you don't have your finances in order before you even arrive here, you're not going to live that life. That's what I'm saying.
100%. I mean,
Like,
if
and
you
if
if
you
you're
don't speak
gonna be
perfect
broke,
Spanish either, you're not going to have the same experience as Tercio either.
yeah, I would. I mean, Tercio makes gringo money, and he spends Latin America living expenses, which is great. If you're able to do that, like, I would highly recommend that.
Especially if
But
you
that's
speak
not a
perfect
reality.
Spanish.
That's not a reality. Oh, I mean, he's from Latin America.
Right.
That's not a reality for everybody. You may not all have the jobs or the ability to do that. But if you do, then it does work out. Now, if you're going to be broke, I would say it's better to be in the U.S. Because you have a safety net, you have welfare, you have EBT, you have student loans, you have all this bullshit where, even the credit system, These are things that you just don't have in Latin America. So if you are going to be broke, it's better to be broke in the United States, because being broke in the United States automatically is going to put you well above upper middle class in Latin America. You know, you can be working at fucking In and Out flipping burgers, and you're going to be living better than 80% of Latin America. Now, there is a trade off where it's these things that you can't really put a dollar amount to, which is like, you know, now you're a fucking slave to work, right? Now you're on a treadmill that you're not going to really be able to get off. And that treadmill, though it is going to provide you with a certain standard of living materially, uh, it's going to drain your life away. Like that's kind of the sad reality. That's the trade-off that you have to make, that you're going to be, you know, the favela dweller in Latin America. Though he's broke, he may not have a Honda Civic that's a 2018 that he bought used. He may just have a fucking piece of shit moped. But he may not have the nice light bulbs. He may have, you know, he's not going to have the same material level of life as you, but he may actually still have a better quality of life at the end of the day. It's really just how you measure it out. He may be able to enjoy his time more. He may be able to enjoy the women around him more.
I think
because in the U.S.,
it's like if what you value the most is like materialistic things and a certain level or a certain level of lifestyle, um, then you do want to be broke in America. But if what you value the most are not things that are materialistic, then then being broke in Latin America can be fun.
The way I see it, I think honestly, with the way the U.S. economy, I see it as like it has maybe a few decades left of where it's going to be like the
in Latin
powerhouse that it is
America.
now.
But you're right. It depends on what you value.
No, what I was going to say, I think your best course of action is to make as much money as you can in the United States, whether it be through, you know, getting a pension, whether it be through being a successful entrepreneur, what have you, and having an escape plan to retire in Latin America, I think is the best thing you could do.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's like you can't get things out of order. You know, if you are in the U.S., then you're frankly in a privileged position. You have the ability to acquire skills and training that aren't going to be as easy to come by in Latin America. So if you're here, you should be taking advantage of all the resources this country has to make, which are chiefly revolve around the ability to make money. At some point, once you acquire those skills and you acquire how to manage money as a skill itself, then you can start diversifying yourself. Then you can start putting a little bit of money away and saying, you know what, maybe I'll buy a fucking farm in my ancestral town of whatever the fuck it's called, whatever, you know, buttfuck pueblo in the mountains that your people come from. Um, but it's like, if you're not even at step one, like you shouldn't even be thinking about steps 4 and 5. Like you got to worry about skills that you need to acquire now that you're younger, now that you have the time and the energy. You need to be aggressively seeking to acquire those skills, because ultimately what you're doing is you're going to trade those skills for money, which you're going to trade for hopefully freedom, right? Freedom from the treadmill is really what you should be aiming for. Um, Now, is there like moments of like, what do you call this? Like a sabbatical, kind of like cathartic, like you could take a year off from the grind of the States and like go live as a broke ass traveling around Latin America and have that free fun that Monk was talking about? Yeah, I think you could definitely do that. I think you should do that as like a kind of cultural or spiritual enrichment experience, if especially if you're young. But again, like I wouldn't be worrying about steps 4 or 5 if you don't even have steps 1 or 2 down. Like that should be the focus of your life at this stage.
Very well put, Noel. But yeah, so as MV says, so ideally, if you make US dollars, like a remote job, better to live in Latin America than the US. I would say yes, with an asterisk of you need to be able to speak perfect Spanish, or else you're going to be paranoid as well that you can't trust people on the same level. I would also say.
Yeah, you need to
Like
know that.
if you made Tercio money, but you're like a white American living in El Poblado in Medellin, I would be scared that like some bad shit's gonna happen to me.
Like I think the
Yes,
only thing that
somebody's
like
gonna scheme on you.
money wouldn't like doesn't allow you to get in Latin America is like that traditional trad wife that everyone thinks they're gonna buy with money. That sort of thing you're not gonna you don't get it with money, but everything else you can get with money. So yeah, you would have a good life.
But Noel, I want you to go into this a little bit for everybody, since everyone wants to talk about passport bros right now. Like, and we were talking about this before you jumped on, but I feel like you're just gonna know way more about this in general, just like personal stories that you've heard that maybe you could tell. But like, I saw a lot of these guys in El Poblado that had like a girlfriend from Colombia, and these people either had to like only talk to their girlfriend in English because they don't know Spanish and don't really want to learn Spanish, or they're using like Google Translate, like in 90 Day Fiance. And it's like, give me some examples for the whole audience of like ways that you've seen women play these sorts of fools, people that want to play that game.
Well, dog, women are fucking vicious. They're gonna play you in your own mother tongue already. So it's like, if she speaks English only, she's already gonna. I mean, she's a woman, dog. You got to know that you're playing with fire here, and you really got to know what the fuck you're doing. I think this is another kind of thing to, like, I don't know. I see a lot of dudes worry about women a lot, and it's like they don't even have like their fucking situation in life together, and they're like sweating over a bitch, like losing sleep. Like, nigga, you don't even pay rent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you don't even have your own place. You're not even in a position in life to be taking on a woman. So why are you worried about a woman at this stage? But anyways, again, women are vicious, bro. So even if in your own language they're gonna play you up. Now, add to that dynamic a language barrier. My God, it's like you're just begging for trouble. And we know that a lot of these simps, they'll be like 40 years old, and maybe they're divorcees, and these girls are like 27. Again, you're just adding variables to an already, frankly, dangerous relationship. Like, again, you got to know what the fuck you're doing if you're going to ride a horse, right? You got to know what the fuck you're doing if you're going to take a woman as yours. That's not for fucking amateurs. It's not for freshmen. So again, if you're going to just be adding more and more dynamics to that already risky situation by adding a language barrier, adding an overabundant age difference, adding cultural differences, is like you're just making it harder and harder on yourself. Something that's already statistically closer to impossible than possible. So my advice to young men is, again, like, get your shit together, get your shit in order. Like, not just your skills, and obviously put yourself in a financial situation where you can take on a woman, but it's also like your character as a man, because any weakness in character, a woman's nose is able to fucking smell that from a mile away. And it's their nature to take advantage of that weakness in your character. So there's so much to do before you go and take on a wife. And then when you finally are in a position to do that, then you want to make it as easy for you as possible. You do want to have something of an age difference where, not too big, but not too small either, because women are more mature than men. And if you get a woman your age, then she's already going to look at you like a little brother. So you need a woman who's a little bit younger than you, so she has an automatic respect and admiration for you. The closer that woman is to like your cultural understanding and worldview of the world, that's also going to be easier, right? Like, you want to hedge the risk as much as possible, not add to the risk. So the last thing you want to do is get a girl where you're going to have to fucking use Google Translate to talk to. Like, you're just asking to get played and bamboozled. So don't do that. And
Don't
learn
do
Spanish. Like, dude, if you're Hispanic and you don't know Spanish, like, going to Latin America is a great way to get it. Like, fucking Billy's Spanish has improved phenomenally. I was talking to him on the phone the other day on speaker, and my wife's like, "Who is that?" She didn't recognize it was Billy. She's like, "What the fuck? He speaks like this now?" And that's kind of what I had told you guys, right? I'm like, even if you don't speak Spanish, you're a Yo no Sabo kid. you do have Spanish in your brain, in your soul, in a sense. And as long as you're surrounded by it, it's gonna come out of you. But you need to surround yourself by it. So I think, doing what you did is like it's what that's the cost that you have to pay in order to acquire or reacquire that loss of language that you may have lived through. So I think there's like baby steps to all these things. We should do a fucking 10-step coaching program and sell it for $3,400.
I think the first step is just like a lot of quote unquote yo no sabo kids are just like they know more.
Hold on, your microphone is horrible. Like, leave the stream and like join again. This is like really bad.
Hold up. What about now?
It's bad.
It's fuzzy.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Let's see here.
But I want to add one thing to the previous topic that we were on about like going to Latin America or being with money. Like, you guys have to understand that we can go to Latin America in 2 hours. Like,
yeah,
we can drive to Latin America. It's not like we're Italian pochos who have to fucking take a steamboat back to the old world. Like, we literally are a 2-hour flight from like 60% of Latin America. We're on the same time zone. So the reality is that these gringos who are tired of gringo-dom and they want to move to Latin America to get something that they can't find here, they're able to take advantage of being in the same time zone as Latin America. They're going back and forth. No one says you have to be stuck in one place. Like, that's just a limiting thought that you've presumed to be true. If you have hustle, if you develop the right contacts, there's ways that you can provide yourself a life that allows you to go back and forth. There is ways to do that. Lots of people are doing that. You may just never sat down and thought about what you can do to do that, but there's no reason why you feel like you have to choose one over the other. Like, you can do both. That's the beauty of the situation that's unique to us as pochos, is that we can be in both places in a matter of hours. Like, I can literally set up a meeting in Mexico City and be there in fucking 3 hours? Like, that's the same distance to New York City. And it's actually probably easier to do business in Mexico for us on the West Coast because our time zones are more related than 3 hours ahead on the East Coast. So don't feel like it's one or the other. Find a way to do both. Find what natural aptitude or skills you can harness that will give you the lifestyle, the ability to afford to do this. Not only afford, but like actually thrive from doing that.
All right, MZ, try talking. I want to see if you're.
How's it now? Is it better?
Fantastic.
Okay. I think it was I was talking through my Bluetooth, probably fucked everything up. But I was gonna say, for most yo no sabos, what I've noticed is that they already know a ton of more Spanish than they give themselves credit for. They're just like embarrassed because of their accent or something like that, and they need to have the courage to just get over that, or else you're never gonna get better. And like, yeah, motherfuckers are gonna make fun of you, but like, just whatever, just.
Welcome to being Hispanic, bro. Like,
I'm not fun for anything.
But I get that, like, the way you talk, like, it is inherently a little bit more embarrassing, but you just get used to it, like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's it. You gotta have the right attitude. You can't be a little bitch about it. Like, you're right.
I mean, you can have a gap in your teeth, and they'll give you a nickname just because you have a gap in your teeth, though. Yeah, you just have to learn to deal with that shit.
Even if you had perfect teeth, they're gonna find a way to embarrass you about your perfect teeth, like that.
Yeah, and I get some people could be like real dicks about it, and if it's just like they're too much, just like avoid it with them. Like, you don't have to talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But, like,
yeah, no, I think you're right. I think they do know more Spanish than they give themselves credit. They are shy. They are, I guess, afraid of embarrassment, but they're not like used to just using it. And that's the beauty about being in Latin America, is that you don't have a choice. Like, you're gonna have to fucking use it.
Yeah.
And
I needed that.
You're gonna crawl before you walk, but eventually you're gonna be able to fucking sprint. It's just what you put into it, man.
Intrepid Jaguar says, not true. No sabos know as much as a white boy from Ohio. Highly disagree. Even my limited Spanish is way better than a lot of people from like straight from the United States, I would say.
Depending on the person, some could be pretty bad, but I would say
we can't hear you, dog. It seems like you go.
Am I fucked up
No
still?
te escuchas, güey. No se escucha.
Ah, fuck. I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Maybe it's my phone, and I'm, I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
You sound fine, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, I know a lot of fucking Asian and Middle Eastern kids who are from California, and they speak better Spanish than a lot of fucking pochos.
I believe that.
So that is definitely a problem. That's definitely like opportunity again that you're limiting yourself in the scope of how you can provide value and get value from the world. So baby steps, dude. Like don't put the cart before the horse. One thing at a time. But you do have the time. Like if you're a young guy, if you're a Zoomer, like you're rich on time. You may be broke financially, but you're rich on time. It's just a matter of starting to apply that time to better use so that it can translate to fucking financial freedom. So just go ahead and send $2,700 to Rancho's course, and I got you, dog. I'm gonna teach you how to do this.
Pocho University.
Hello?
Oh shit, bro! Pocho University, dog.
Or maybe
Can you guys hear me?
No Sabo University. I'm not sure. One of those will work.
Billy, can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
sound
I
fine.
hear you, dog. We hear you.
I think that what Rancho was saying is true. I think that a lot of these kids, it's not que no sepan, porque sí saben. Muchos de ellos se hacen como que no saben, y por tímidos, por payasos, les da vergüenza o pienso que es su manera de sentirse americanos, de sentirse como diferentes de los otros latinos.
Claro.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And I just saw the comment that Wayne said, and I'm pretty sure Wayne is what was that Mexican kid from New York's name? I'm pretty sure that's him. I forget the fucking trolling Zoomer. Anyways, that's not true, dog. That's actually not true. Like, there's been tons of studies that show that Hispanics that lose the language in the second generation end up reacquiring it in the third. Gringos have used that as a complaint against us for a very long time, that there's an economic incentive to speak Spanish that the Italians and the Irish and the Germans who came here, they didn't have that economic incentive. We do. There's so many of us here that you could literally live in a Hispanic city in the U.S. and never really even need to speak English to function. So I wouldn't have that defeatist attitude. I think there's enough evidence to show that it's just not the reality. Even if you do lose it in a generation, your children's generation are going to have an incentive. I mean, if Persian kids and Korean kids can speak better Spanish than most pochos, there clearly is economic incentive to speak the language.
Exactly. And not only that, like I think German Americans were doing well with preserving German for a while, but like the American government really utilized World War I and II to buck break these people into like not speaking that again. And like we don't have that. There's not going to be an equivalent of that with Hispanic Americans.
That's the alchemy. That's the alchemy that the gringos did for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. A lot of kids in Latin America speak English so fucking well. I'm like, how did you learn to speak English so well? Like these. It's just the internet. It's just the laws of the internet. Like the internet.
So a lot of these no Sabo kids, they don't know either English or Spanish. They don't speak very good English.
Facts. That's the harsh truth.
Their linguistic identity is like somewhere in between English and Spanish, and nowhere near any of those two.
That's so true, dog. They have an accent in Spanish and they have an accent in English. But I think that's just reflective of a lack of education or value for education. And like, again, this is like these are the introspections that you have to do as a fucking man to know where you're starting from. You may be starting from the very, very bottom, and there's nothing to stop you from getting to the top. I mean, there's a lot of things to stop you, but if you try against them, you can overcome them. But the first step is taking like an honest inventory of where you stand. And if you come from a family that didn't really value education, when they weren't even very educated back when they lived in Latin America, But again, now you're in America, you have access to resources that they don't. And just because you were living a certain way before with certain values doesn't mean you have to live that way tomorrow. That's a decision you have to make as a man, and you need to overcome that. You need to learn to value a certain level of education. Otherwise, you're gonna go from a gringo boss to an Indian boss to a Persian boss to a Korean boss, and you'll always be the help.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that. Anyway, I think Marcus is going to rejoin in like 30 seconds. But I want to ask you, Noel, because I think there's probably a lot of people thinking this, and it's probably good that we ask you. For people that are like pochos that are listening right now in their 20s, whether it be the early or late or mid 20s,
Hold on,
and
baby.
a lot of them probably feel like they're just kind of stuck where they're at, like they're in sort of like a rut. Oh shit, he's gone. Well, we'll just keep talking with Marcus. What's up?
Is
Let's
this
try.
working or no?
You
Am I
sound
good?
great.
Okay, okay. What are we talking about now?
We were just kind of just talking about like the opportunities, like sort of like if you're a pocho, what are some ways that we can take advantage of like our place in the world so that we're better off in English, that we're better off whether we're living in Latin America or in the United States. I know you travel back and forth a lot, so you probably have a lot that you can chime in on that. But like what are some useful life skills you can acquire
I would
in your
say
20s that like if someone doesn't have it, it's like you'd highly recommend that they do.
I could say definitely for sure. As I'm like now rolling into my 30s, I'm 32 now. Like get the hard work of establishing yourself as a man. If you're like in your young 20s, get started. And if you're in your mid 20s and you haven't gotten going, like get going like now. Like you need to get going like yesterday. Cause it's very difficult to make a living in the United States. And I overheard a little bit of what you and Rancho were saying earlier as far as like you need to set yourself up to even be able to like chase that life that you want in Latin America.
Yeah.
That's true. But things are rapidly going to a place in the United States where not very we're very people are just struggling basically, and it's getting more and more difficult, to like have even like your bases be able to be covered as a single man, right? Um, because for me, I went to school after I had worked for a bit, and then I was just like kind of working dead end jobs, and I was like, man, this shit ain't worth it. I'm like good at
Yeah.
math, so I did engineering and shit. But it was a struggle, like to work full time, go to school full time in such a difficult subject, and life gets in the way. It's not just things happen, and just it was a lot. So for me, it's very important that if you're a young man to like get going and really set goals for yourself, whatever your career path, whatever your skills you want to develop may be, and get going because like dude, you get to a certain time in your life where shit is just so hard. Like right now, I don't know if I would have the energy to do all that, like, um, so definitely like make sure you have a plan and then just stick to it. Um, it's hard for me to like be like, you should go this route or that route because the way that I went, though it was difficult, is secure, right? Like go to college for like one of the professions. It's like, yo, go be a doctor. Like, of course you're gonna make money. Um, but find a lane and then stick to it. I would say mentorship is also a big thing, man. If you could, 99% of what your work that you're gonna do as far as your journey towards your goal of like a career or like a path that you wanna get on is gonna be taken care of if you just find a motherfucker who you want to be like and talk to him and be like, how did you get to where you're at? So, like, don't be such a fucking arrogant little shit where you think you know everything, like, where you're just like, and I'm saying that partially to myself too, because it caused me some issues, but, you got to be a little humble and recognize that, other people have been here longer and, be willing to look for advice and for guidance. And, um, I remember like when I was struggling through certain things, my uncle told me, one of my uncles, when I first moved up to LA, I got in between some shit with my housing and he let me crash on his couch for like 2 months. He told me, he's like, I have no issues like having you here as long as, you want, because a person who's looking to help for, like, who's looking to better themselves, like somebody who's actually striving for themselves, never makes the people who are helping them out feel a burden, because you know that it's worth it. So just make sure that, like, when you ask for help, to make sure, like, that you're that you're going for it, and people are gonna be willing to help you. Because yeah, man, it's getting fucking super hard to like make a living and to get anything going, and to have, like, yeah, you want to save so you can buy your cool little rancho and wherever the fuck you want to be at. That's cool. I kind of want to do that now too, but again, you want to be in a position where you could do that. Um, so yeah, just find a trade. I would say if you live somewhere like high cost of living, get out of that fucking area. Like, even for me, that I make good money, I'm looking at getting out of LA, because it's just like, dude, it's getting crazy expensive. Just find somewhere you could rack money, and just when it comes to, like, I heard you guys talking about women too. Like,
Yeah.
don't even trip about a woman, dog. If you're like less than like 25, 26, unless you're religious, and that's like, you got the whole kind of ceremony a little different. But if you're like a regular ass dude, like, if you're like below 25, I would say you shouldn't even have a girlfriend. And if you do, it should be something very nonchalant, something like very like loosely like affiliated. Cause it's fucked up to say, bro, but once you get a good job, you get your shit together, like, you're not even gonna want her anymore. Cause the type of girl that you can get as a young man, like that, doesn't have their shit together, probably doesn't have an apartment and a car, whatever, is gonna change. So don't tie yourself down, and dude. And then also, like, women can be very distracting for your goals
Oh
and
yeah.
shit. So I would say don't even trip about girls. If you gotta chase a little something here and there, that's one thing. But to be seriously committed, I think is kind of foolish when you're searching for something. But just don't waste time, bro. Because next thing you know, right now you're like 21, 22, dude. Then you fucking close your eyes and you're like 27, and it's like, all of a sudden it's not so funny that you and your friends are at the same bar for the, like, whatever fucking celebration you're doing now, and all you can talk about is the last time you guys got fucked up together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta try to dig more out of life than just being like I don't know, a regular ass dude. But yeah, that's like the main thing that I would like. This is what I tell the young men in my life right now. you know?
No, fantastic advice. And I'm 27. I'm gonna turn 28 in a few months. Like, yeah, the time fucking flies. And COVID like robbed us all of like 3 years at very crucial parts in our lives. I would say to most people listening, and I'd say a lot of us probably feel pretty frustrated at where we're at right now, if we're being completely honest.
Mhm.
You got your shit together. You went to school, but like, there's a lot of people that have not done that.
Yeah, no, dude. There's like all of my friends, dude. That I don't have any of my friends that I like. Basically, like my high school, like hometown friends. I'm not close with really any of them anymore. All of them are like fucking alcoholic, junkie. You know what I'm saying? Like, none, don't really got their shit together. Like, some of them are just regular working class dudes. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't want to sound like a snob just because I went to college, like looking down on regular working people. But it's just a unfortunate reality that it's more difficult for those people to like get a living. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, dude, I know a lot of people who are just like, super, super like dissatisfied with life and their position in it. So that's what I mean, dude. Like, you don't want to be looking back and being like, fuck, dude, imagine being like 40 and you're still doing the same old bullshit, like, let alone being 30, like, I know guys like that, man. I've met dudes like that. There's just like, dude, your ship has sailed. You get like one shot at it. So get it going.
For real, yeah. Whether you need something like, go to, I don't know, whether it's start like that degree that you were doing, where I think it was like what, engineering,
hmm
or
I did computer science technically, but it was like in the engineering college.
yeah, software engineering.
Yeah.
Whether, I don't know, whether you need to go to the military to pay for something expensive like law school, whatever it is, like, get started
Yeah.
on that shit now. Don't wait.
Because
And
the good
now's a
thing
good
is,
time.
mhm. Go ahead.
Because like the unemployment rate's super low, you might have a lot more of like opportunities and like ways that you wouldn't if we're back at like 10% unemployment again.
hmm Another thing too, dude, is like for those guys who are like more in the trades, like even that shit, dude. The guys who make good money off the trades are like they're working, and learning for a long fucking time. Like you don't just wake up one day and know how to do fucking masonry. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a skill. It's something that you could. If you get really dude, if you get really fucking good at building cabinets, there's fucking rich motherfuckers that'll pay you fucking who knows how much, to do their shit. So like, if you're pursuing trades, it's just like, just basically learn, develop skills, dude. It doesn't have to be college. If anything, I don't recommend college if you're not in like some people say only if you're studying STEM, then okay. Like I would say not even STEM. Like if you're not directly into like a pipeline into a profession, I would say like skip it, dude, or go to community college until you figure your shit out. You know, because it's like so not worth it in my opinion. Like for me, like duh, it's an easy thing. Like it's a pathway to a career, but I think for the most part, kids are kind of just wasting their fucking time. Um, but yeah, dude, definitely like search for that shit, dude. Search for like what, and also like do search for the shit that you can do. Don't. I think that there's like this fucking drama of like that. I don't know why. Maybe this is affecting Zoomers a little bit less. Like but there's this drama of like, oh, I have to find my fucking calling and all that shit. And like, I agree to an extent because you don't want to hate what you're doing because you're gonna suck at it and not want to do it. But also like, man, the fuck up and figure out some shit that's gonna be able to work for you. Like life isn't a fucking, like I doubt if because you're most likely a pocho listening to this shit. I doubt your pops or your grandpa or whoever it was that immigrated to the U.S. wanted to be a fucking landscaper or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or like whatever the fuck they ended up doing, but they busted their ass, to like get ahead. You have to have that mentality. Like, you can't have the mentality of like I don't fucking know, of like being above certain shit, I guess. But yeah.
So
Like
here's what we'll do real quick. You can keep going. It's just I just want to say we have like 20 more minutes ish of like if you have questions for us about any of this shit. But yeah, keep going, Marcus.
yeah, for sure. So cuz I know, dude, like even when I got my degree and I started working in the tech world, it's like congratulations, now you're the fucking bottom feeder of the tech world, you know what I'm saying? Like now you're doing their bitch work. Like you busted your ass at school and now, I'm barely like going on my fifth professional year, and I'm now finally like a real kind of staff software engineer where I'm not like like I'm one of the main guys. But before it was just like me doing other people's like basically um finishing up for other people or doing like catching kind of odd ends of like what other people are doing. So you always kind of got to pay your dues too. Um, I would say a lot of us, unfortunately, too, dude. Not to get too fucking like sentimental,
Nah, do
but
it.
you're like in a lot of us suffer from being in fucking toxic ass environments from family. Like I know for me personally, that's some shit that I had to deal with, is because I didn't go to college straight after school and I went to community college. Motherfucker, like a lot of people in my family would talk a lot of shit about me, bro. They would be like, "Oh, this motherfucker's just going to the local JC. He's gonna drop out and be a fuck up anyways and shit like that." I would say like, dude, if that's your situation, that shit is poison, and you need to get the fuck away from that too. Like I know that's a big fucking problem because it's like it's so much easier to fucking hate sometimes than to like encourage like a young motherfucker trying to do something. So I would say, make sure that like, because when you're doing some shit, the last thing you want is for like to go home to like when you're done with your fucking hard ass day with the shit that you're doing to go home and have to deal with more shit. So if you got to live on your fucking Theo's couch or like you got to rent a fucking two-bedroom apartment with your three homeboys, like as long as you're striving for something, like if it's a better mental situation, then yo, Metro's so on point with that shit. That shit happens too, bro. Ya te crees, like yeah, dude, for sure. Like there's a lot of negativity, unfortunately, like that comes
Dude, a
with the
lot
whole
of people just
community.
don't want to see you succeed. Like it sucks.
No,
And like I had to learn this the hard way. Like you need to start like as of yesterday, surrounding yourself with people that are ambitious and want to do better and who generally want to see you succeed as well.
Exactly.
People
I
that are
think
the opposite are demonic and are going to try and drag you down to
they're
their
miserable, dude. You know what
level.
what it is that people don't get this shit at first, and it took me a while to learn this shit myself. It's just jealousy, bro. It's jealousy, and they want the comfort of like I couldn't make it in the shit that I wanted to do, so I want to be comfortable to know that other people can't do it either, and just know
Hmm.
like just get away from all that fucking shit, dude. Get away from all that shit. Like for me, like I just was like very stubborn and just didn't pay it no mind when like I would hear shit. I didn't let it affect me. I would say, but if you're like of the type to have maybe those words or those sentiments hold a little bit more water to, then I would say work on getting over it or just getting away from it. And it's not just family, it's also your homeboys, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
if you guys are out drinking all the time and not and fucking Betty Castle and with girls and shit, I would say like, dude, make sure that you could have your fun, but make sure you're doing that shit responsibly. Like you could like for me, I always took my breaks really like I did a lot during my breaks because I know like I'm gonna be working and I'm gonna be going to school. Like it's gonna be a lot. So make sure that you're being responsible with all this shit. But yeah, dude, it's like it's hard, man. But every dude, I remember when I first when I moved out from actually this is a good thing. I fucking forgot about this. But I moved to LA from San Diego because I was like, dude, I don't want to deal with the negativity of my family in San Diego. So I came to LA really to just get a new start. And I remember when I first came out here, my Theo, who I stayed with for a bit, was just like, um, he's like every young man has to have that. You're having that period of your life where you're like Luke Skywalker when you go to like that one fucking desert planet and you're learning to become a Jedi, you know? Like you have to have that moment. That's some shit that you can't skip. You can't cuz then you like let's say like you win the fucking lotto. What are you going to do like destroy your life with like cocaine and hookers and shit like like no, you got to learn to build yourself into the man that you're going to be, and you have to really become a man because a lot of motherfuckers are like they walk around and they're just like little boys. They have they're emotional. They throw tantrums. They handle themselves with no like control. And you have to learn to control yourself and your desires and your fucking vices and all that shit. You have to learn to be responsible, to be timely. You have to learn that to eat shit from people, bro. Like you really do, because that's like so much of what life is to like motherfuckers tell you to go fuck yourself and you take it with a smile. Because unfortunately like that's what life is, bro. It is. you know Learn to be self-sufficient, learn to like and in a way like it's like, dude, being a man is like you gotta you gotta be a parent to yourself in a way. It's like when shit happens in my life, I don't really trip out on people. I reach out when I have to. We all need friends. We all need to like vent sometimes. But like for me internally, I'm my mom and I'm my dad. I regulate my emotions like my mother should, and I fucking hold myself accountable like a father should. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to internalize both of those kind of archetypes into yourself to become like a real complete adult. So like always be working on yourself. Well, yeah, that's my Bocho advice hour.
Fantastic. Yeah. But I would say, yeah, we had 3 years of COVID that we're never going to get back. Things are
Mhm.
more or less leveling out. We have a lot more opportunities now. And this is kind of our moment where we can either make the moves that we need to make when in our 20s, or we're just going to be fucked in our 30s and 40s.
Exactly. And all that shit starts up. Also, start credit. If you're in your 20s, get a
Yeah.
credit card. Don't fuck with it, but start it. Big thing that I wish I had done younger. Learn how it works. Don't get into credit card debt, but have a credit card. Things like that. Because later on, dude, when you have fucking like, when you're like when you're 33, you want to buy a house and you got fucking 13 years of clean credit, dude, that's going to look so fucking good. You know?
So go into that just for people that don't understand, maybe if they mostly use cash, like what are some benefits that you've derived from building up your credit and having that ability?
Well, mostly just because I come from like the typical, Hispanic immigrant, like, oh, don't trust credit because you're just gonna go on credit card debt and it's gonna be a cycle. And it's like that's definitely something to be very wary of. But you have to basically deal with credit in order to get forward in like in this world. It's really it makes or breaks a lot of the bigger financial decisions you're gonna make in your life.
So, like,
So
go into some examples. What are some of these things, and where if you have good credit, you're gonna have way more better opportunities?
you're gonna
Just
have better opportunities. For example, like if you want to buy a car, you're gonna get a better interest rate. If you want to buy a house, you're gonna get approved for a better house, more loan. If you want to get a business loan, for example, it'll help you out with that. And with interest, like a lot of the things too is motherfuckers thinking like monthly payments. You got to kill that shit in your head too about like, oh, this is gonna be like $300 a month versus like this is gonna be like whatever. Like you have to think about like the long term of what you're gonna do, because like an interest rate could be like from 8% to 5%. You could end up saving yourself over 3 years. Like I don't know, like for example, like 5 grand or some shit. Like, and so it's just like learning the long term how money actually functions. Um, so the reason why I say to start a credit card like when you're young is because a bank's not gonna give you a high limit anyways, unless they're fucking nuts. But like it's good so that because also one of the things that's important for your credit history is how long you've had credit. So like if you hit 30 and you already have 8 years, like you're gonna be more likely to get approved for like let's say a fucking emergency happens, you crash your car and you already had it paid off and you need a quick lease or something like it's gonna make shit so much fucking easier. Like, as far as like having to not have a cosigner, having to not go to the highest fucking rate, having not to go to like some bullshit mom and pop chop shop car place, like things like that. It really it makes a fucking big difference. My credit's not fantastic, but it's decent, and and so I'm telling you because like now I'm fixing shit that I wish I would have known in the past.
I want to address something really quickly because we have like someone spamming the chat here with things like you're letting this guy go off about economics shit over and over. We have an influx of foreigners, of communists and subhumans, and obviously we're going into anti-Semitism and all of this, and it's like, no, this is not what this fucking stream is going to be about. And I don't want any of this shit that I'm talking about to be about this. It's like we can't be talking about liberating Latin America and making, turning into like a global superpower when you live in your mom's basement and you don't even have
Exactly.
fucking credit cards.
Like
It's like this is not what
let's
this
say all
channel's
those
going to be
things are
about.
let's say all those things are true. Like, what are you gonna do about it with your fucking Cheeto fingers
In your
in your
Telegram
room
group
right now?
chat
And
where
yeah,
nothing happens except you bitch about things all day. It's like,
yeah,
no.
dude. And then trust me, like, dude, people like nobody who's a real fucking adult like has these type of conversations. By the way, like for those of you who are like young and just talking in memes and shit or whatever, like, dude, whatever. Um, you have
Dude, if you're
to.
gonna be autistic, you need to channel that into shit that is useful, like
mm,
learning how to like invest in things, learning how
Yeah,
to
be autistic about like those fools from
useful
Reddit that
shit.
use the stocks and they make all this money. Like at least do something. Be productive with it. Don't be productive or don't be autistic over fucking like,
Being
oh,
like
I
a Latin
memorized all
American
the fucking gene
Nazbol doesn't
charts from
help
all
you
over
at
the
all.
world. Like that shit doesn't matter. It's in and even if it did, it's like all out of your fucking control anyway. So like it's like if we knew a meteor was gonna hit fucking the planet in like 100 years, like it's like worrying about it now. It's like, dude, there's nothing we could do about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't know, probably not the best analogy, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, even if what you're worried about is true, is like, dude, you're not gonna stop it by us in this fucking YouTube chat or whatever.
No, not at all.
Pointless.
Completely pointless. Yeah. I don't know. Should I let Polka on and let him say what he wants or not? I feel like I shouldn't.
I don't know. Like, how much time you have left? Like 10 minutes? I say we
we
can give him
actually
like,
we have plenty of time if this actually goes anywhere, but it's like
yeah.
if it's not gonna
I
go
would say
anywhere, I'm gonna just cut it
I
off.
got like 10 minutes because I gotta do some shit right now, but. If you want to let him on real quick, see what he has to say.
I'll let you on. I'll let you on, but like if you're annoying me, like it's over. Like I'm just gonna kick you without warning. I don't have time. So now's your chance. Boom, you're in.
Thank you very much for having me on. But I want to say right now that I find it very offensive that like you're making all these. I mean, yeah, because the thing is like I always want to spread the word It's very important to sprout the word. And I don't listen. I've worked jobs. I used to work in a horse ranch. I used to work in an airport. And I don't really appreciate that. I'm telling you, like, I'm a nationalist, and your first assumption is, oh, this guy's a loser. You and MZ, just I don't like these assumptions. It's incorrect.
It's not that you're a loser. It's that like I don't think you have the right priorities if you're focusing on like any sort of nationalism. That's what I would say.
You don't think your nation is the most important thing in the world?
No, I don't.
No.
Okay, so you're perfectly fine with a bunch of Afro-Anglos, with a bunch of Ashkenazi Jews just coming into your neighborhood, taking it all out. You're fine with that. You're just all about the money,
I
baby. All
mostly
about the
live
money.
with in our Armenian neighborhood. I haven't noticed too many of those.
It's not like whether I'm fine with it or not. It's like the elites of Latin America have made a decision that this is what it's going to be.
They're vendepatrias. And guess what?
And
when Simón Bolivar, when he started, they all told him the Spanish Empire is unstoppable. It's unstoppable. You'll never do anything. By the time you get up 100 armed guys, they're going to take you before. They're going to take you all across the Atlantic to fucking Madrid, and they're going to hang you. You know what Simón Bolivar did? He went out there and he fought 500 battles. 500 battles. And he won the bulk of them. And they're the reason we ain't the fucking Españoles putas right now. All right? It's always good to fight.
Now we're America's
right?
putas.
If I have a fucking $10 million, I have $10 million. And by the way, my island, it's going down. I'm seeing it every day. Down in fucking Loiza, down in fucking Dorado, down in fucking Rincon, down in San Juan. All over, these subhumans are just piling in. They're piling in. Euromutts, Chinese, Afro-Anglos, Ashkenazi Jewish businessmen are like popping in. They always come in with their hordes.
I mean, they're intelligent to do so. They're just doing what's in their best interests. It's like I'm not going to.
They're evil.
I'm not going to hate
evil.
It's like, okay, but if I have termites in my house, it's because I'm not keeping my house in order. It's because
absolutely no. It's absolutely the responsibility of let me tell you right now, the PIP is a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. That's the Independence Party here. They're the worst fucking nationalists. I mean, I'd be down press of the fucking, what is it? They're like the 190 nations are to find a worst possible nationalist party. And let me tell you something. I will fucking enter it. I will run for mayor of my town or councilman, anywhere there, and I'll fucking move on. That's what I encourage. But the main thing I want to tell everybody in this is, everybody, yeah, sure, I'll turn on my can, no problem. I'm very hairy, very hairy. By the way, I got fucking muscle. How do I got some fucking muscle, so don't go and say like, oh, I'm a little fucking bitch. No. And number one thing I got to tell everybody in here is we are being replaced right now. We are being infested with foreigners. The Ashkenazi Jews, they rule the Western world, and it's up to us, Latinos, the cosmic race, to deal with these scumbags. If we don't, we're not going to have a Mexico. We're not going to have a Venezuela or an Argentina. We're not going to have any of it. It will become a mudded, disgusting pile of waste. So, listen, money's great, and it's always good to encourage entrepreneurship and encouraging, economic success, all that. Just understand, there's more than life than just money. There's more in life than just money. Okay, there's more in life than just money. And I would highly encourage you. I know people tell you, oh, you complain about Zog, you'll lose your account. Fuck it. Condemn the Ashkenazi Jew, condemn the Goldstein, condemn the Shlomo, and encourage, and straight up, encourage laws. I'll tell every man in here, Tronizo Nationals, Momento Hispano, Max Hernandez, Jeffrey Rodrigo, Echeverria. All of you guys, go vote. Vote, do protests. Do anything and everything you possibly can, legally speaking, of course. And make sure that if you're in a Latino nation as of right now, make laws. Go become a senator or vote for senators who will draft laws saying to disencourage gringo immigration, to deport them, to ban them from having sex with our women, to do anything impossible to throw them the fuck out. So anything and everything, to destroy Protestant churches, anything you can do.
I'm going to say this. I respect your energy, for real. And I respect that you turned your camera on. Like, most people are not willing to do that and say what's on their mind, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, don't make assumptions about me. I don't like that.
That was my
Cheetos.
bad.
See, you see any Cheetos on this? I drink only water. I've been going 7 fucking years now. Yeah, but
That's
no,
good,
you want to talk some shit about that MZ guy? He sounds like a fucking gordo.
But here's what I'm saying. Though. It's like I get the energy and I respect it, and I don't like having people that have no ancestral connections to Latin America coming in and
They're
exploiting.
inferior. They're dumber than us, and they
But
make our nations worse.
sure, and these things can all be correct. My point is that I'm saying is that if we can get our shit together in our personal lives and we can actually start acquiring money, we can influence people on the way that you want to influence people in our countries much more with money than just being like political activists, if that makes sense to you. That's what I think, at least.
Oh yeah, listen, this ain't World War One where one Slav can go kill one Kraut and there's World War One. It ain't like that anymore. The Zog is much more efficient than we were back then. That nowadays, like I think right now, if somebody goes kill that Moro Mierda in El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. You know how disgraceful that is? He's half Arab. We fought 800 years. 800 años de guerra. That is the longest war in human history. And we elect a fucking half Arab as president of El Salvador. I'll never get over. And everybody's like, oh, he's fighting the Maras. He's fighting MS-13. He's wasted millions of dollars building a 40,000 inmate prison. You know what's really quickly? Take a gun. Boom. No water, no food, no housing, and do it fucking Saddam Hussein style. Charge the fucking family for having bred the little tattooed cocksucker. Now, instead he wastes millions. He's already done Bitcoin. You elect a fucking Arab, you get Arabic results. And yeah, absolutely encourage money. Also, please join my Discord server. I'll post the link in private chat.
Sure, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And my Telegram. And we can get that in there too.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, absolutely. Need money. We need money. Don't. And let me give you my own economic. Don't do business with Ashkenazi Jews. Do not perform business with gringos. Do not perform business with Chinos.
I feel like if it's advantageous, you have to. Like, this is just the world we live in, where you have to bake bread with other people. You can't just be like, fuck everyone else in public. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, listen. If you do business with them, make it a point that eventually you'll push them out, so to speak.
And obviously, you shouldn't shuck up to these people and be their bitches while you're doing business. But it's like, it's too late. You go to places like California, there's so many of these people from like places like Asia where they're young, they're entrepreneurs, they have like, they're very good entrepreneurship. You have to make bread with these people, whether you like them or not. And I'm not just going to say fuck Jewish people or fuck anyone.
Wait a minute. You live in Colombia right now, right?
That's right.
You have citizenship?
I do.
You didn't vote for the commie, did you?
For Petro?
Yeah.
I don't vote, but I probably wouldn't have been inclined to vote for Petro.
You missed the election.
I just didn't vote. I don't vote.
Cabron, you have to fucking vote.
I'm not a whole believer that democracy is going to change everything in Latin America.
No, it's fucking garbage. I agree. It's garbage. It's better than nothing. I mean, what do you have better to do that day to vote?
Well, it happened. People, we got the leader that we deserved with Petro, and now he is advocating that we pay criminals a stipend of roughly $100 a month so that they're encouraged to not be criminals anymore. So this is the current situation of Colombia, and I just don't feel like democracy is going to save us out of this ship that we're currently on.
Wow, I have Colombians in my server. $100. Lo siento, hermano. Lo siento. That's.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic. It's like I'm thinking long term the way Chinos do, where it's like hundreds of years in the future. I don't think we're gonna being politically active the way that maybe Chicanos in the 70s were with the Black Panthers is going to be the solution to anything. Even if I do
there were no Chicanos at the Black Panthers. What are you talking about?
There were Chicanos aligned with them, and there was something going on there.
They were cucks. They were vendepatrias,
I get why they were like that at the time. I get it.
Black brown lines. Listen. The Afro-Anglo is completely equal to the Euro-Mutt. They're just different colored. That's really what yes. Do they have European or African? That's like, but they're both mutts. They're both mutts. And well, Well, Gadrum, I encourage you to vote. I'm certainly listen. I hate the fucking PIP, but when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
So I mean, look, I get what you mean if you're saying like vote conservative if you want like
Vote
Colombia.
nationalist. Vote nationalist.
All right, but like in
A
Colombia,
real
there is no
nationalist
like
party.
there is no real nationalist alternative. Like you have like the conservatives who can run an economy much better than this current regime, or you can vote for like people like
Do
Petro.
the conservatives condemn Israel?
No, they don't condemn Israel
Fuck 'em.
because they'd
Fuck
like
'em.
a Colombia where economically they're better off, and you don't fuck with America's top vassal state in the Middle East if you're going to do
Oh,
that.
you mean actually Israel's top vassal state? Israel runs the United States. Zog, remember Zog. Well,
See-
Guillermo, listen. It's a lot to ask you. You're a young man, but hey, with all that money you plan on making, make sure you make your own nationalist party with it. And if I have money, let me tell you something. Me to you, I'll make sure to fund it if I can, and just
But I
don't
mean,
let you know.
These things I can't
'Cause
even
I've heard
imagine-
good about you. I know back then you found me strange and whatever, and but to be frank, you still find me kind of a little weird. But I'm fine with you. I'll tell you who I got a fucking problem with. I don't like Rancho. I don't like El Rey Macho. I don't like those two. They piss me off.
Okay, so Rancher wants me to ask you though, real quickly.
Who is he?
What is Noel?
Is he Momento Hispano?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Tano
I'm not a
question?
fucking spaz. I'm mentally well. I've gone to therapists. I've never had any autism, anything like that. Completely mentally normal. So fucking cállate, fucking pendejo.
Right. So, what are your thoughts on the Tano question and Daniel Ortega in general?
Oh, the Thanos. You know what that word means, right?
Of course, yeah. The Italian diaspora in Latin America.
They're disgusting. They're subhuman. They're wretched. They're mafioso. And wherever they've ever come, unless they come from Sardinia, they come from Sardinia or Liguria. Those are only two regions where they genetically they don't align. From south to north, they have brought crime, drugs, pedophilia, and they've brought the fucking vassalage towards Israel and the Ashkenazi Jewish control of the world, Zog, the Zionist occupied government, everywhere they've gone. They have ruined Argentina. They've ruined the south of Brazil. And what we need to do is deport them. If you have below 33% of proper Latino blood, they need to be deported. They need to be deported. If you have an Italian last name, they need to get on a fucking boat. They're either gonna go in there voluntarily or they're going in a fucking casket in Minecraft. Either anyway, anyhow, to get them the fuck out. They need to get the fuck out of Colombia. They need to get the fuck out of anything. You see them on the fucking street, you say, get the fuck out of Salir de mi fucking país, Tano. Salir de mi país, Tony Soprano. All right? And he got kids, doesn't matter. It's a fucking woman, doesn't matter. You get in their face, all right? Let them bring a fucking cork. Okay, you're screaming at them. They can't fucking bring you to prison. You tell them to go fuck themselves in the street. Make them feel unwelcome, all right? You see their fucking houses? Put a fucking, this is a classic. Take a fucking bag, put shit in it, and then put it on fire so they have to kick it out, and so they get their fucking foot stuck in the shit. Anything and everything that's legal, do it to fuck with them. Fuck with them, fuck with them, fuck with them. And when we can get enough of our numbers at rallies, have a rally at your pizza place, have a rally at your house, have a rally at the Catholic Church, anything and everything you can do it. All right? I'll be doing it. You should do it. Guillermo, you should do it too.
All right.
So the Thanos are a fucking subhuman plague. Okay? And I want to answer this because people they want to say like, oh, well, weren't we Romans and the Italians were the Romans? It was Iberians. Iberians who really ran the Roman Empire. We were the unappreciated labor. It was Iberians who, while we were never emperor, we never made emperor, we ran everything else. We were the fucking brains behind our military. The vast majority of the constructors were that. All the scientists, the best poets, the best anything was always a fucking, it wasn't an Illyrian, it wasn't a Gaul, it wasn't a fucking, a Punic, it wasn't an Italic, it wasn't a Greek, it was a fucking Iberian or a Lusitanian, or a Vascon, that's what they call the ancient Basque, or a Turtestani. All of those different, or just the Iberians from like the East Coast. It was us, fucking us, who did it. The fucking WAPs did as they always do. They sat around their fat fucking asses being inefficient. The minute that we started pulling our population back, they immediately got by the fucking Krauts, by the Alimanales. It just, the Goths, the Goths could have never done. The Visigoths, if we were independent and we were allowed the former Roman military, the Visigoths wouldn't have gone 1 fucking meter past the Pyrenees. We would have killed them all instantly. Those Odin worshipping cocksuckers would have made a fucking minute inside. And by the way, I want to make it a ear quote, huge point. The Italics spread no blood in Iberia. Okay, they did not move thousands of Italics marching across the Alpines to fucking Spain. Okay, they Iberians, Turkestanis, Basques, they all agreed to kill off the Celtic Iberians at the Siege of Numantia. Google it. Siege of Numantia. So we're not Celtic, by the way. We're not fucking Celtic. So I don't want to hear any, oh, well, you know, the Irish, they're Catholic and they're Celtic. Aren't we Celtic? No! We're not fucking Celtic. We've never been Celtic. We killed them at the Siege of Numantia. I'm going to repeat it 10 times because, you know, I know people are like, oh, we're Celtic. Siege of Numantia. 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 I hope everybody in here got that very clearly. Siege of Numantia. Siege of Numantia. Okay? And it was brutal. It was hell on earth. They were starving these fucking mix, these sheep fucking mix, low IQ, you know, fucking alcoholics, that they were eating each other. They were eating each other because we were just fucking killing so goddamn many of them. We walled them off. We did all the work. The Romans did nothing. And they were dying like flies. Like flies to fucking like the little lamps that go in and they just explode. It was brutal. Like genocide. So, because anyway, that answers the Italian question.
Fantastic answer. You know, you got me thinking. Have you ever considered maybe, I don't know, having some sort of like military ambitions in like Puerto Rico?
Someday I'll join the Bolivian army.
The Bolivian army.
It's the only nation. It's the only nation which will allow you, as not a direct citizen, to join a military. Only one. Well, actually, no. For you, because you're a Colombian citizen, or actually, what's your nation of origin?
I was born in Chicago, but I'm a dual citizen of the United States and Colombia.
Your parents, where do your parents come from?
From Cali and from Bogota, although I think if you go even further down the line, they were mostly paisas that went to other regions.
Mexicano. You're a Mexicano. Okay, well.
No. Paisa from Antioquia.
You know what I mean. Anyway, this is actually funny. The Spanish military, they actually let everybody except from Puerto Rico and the Philippines to join its military. And you actually get Spanish citizenship that way. Literally, so like if anyone's like, you can just join the Spanish military, boom, stayed easy. Except for me, because I'm from fucking Puerto Rico, I don't get that, which that fucking blows. But not Bolivia, Fru. So, well, someday I plan to go there, do my 4 years, and I shall proudly, you know, wear the fucking badges I'll get from it. Yes. I'll shave my beard and hair too. I don't want to, and let me tell you, I will be making a lot of emails and physical letters to senators and whatnot over there to let me keep my beard and get an exception. But comes down to it, I'll shave my hair, my long hair. It goes all the way down to like, well, it used to touch. I think it almost touches my asshole now, but yeah.
All right.
And you, Guillermo, you got to join the Colombian military?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a better idea to join the U.S. or the Colombian military.
Colombian, obviously Colombian. Why is that even? Why is that even a question to you?
Well, let's say I have ambitions to be as successful as I can in my life. You know, the Colombian military might not be the best vessel to use in order to reap the benefits that I want and where I can maximize how efficient I want to be in life to support causes that you may or may not be sympathetic to.
All right, Guillermo, let me ask you a question. I'm not asking to be a fucking pendejo. I'm asking this in complete honesty.
Sure.
Would you suck a dick for $1 billion?
This is your question?
Yeah, would you suck a penis for $1 billion?
That's a lot of fucking money, dude.
Let me change it. Would you suck a dick for $1 million? Just $1 million.
Even $1 million's a lot of money, dude. He's Colombian, of course he would.
Yeah, you see, he fucking gets it. Listen, my point is, serving the U.S. military is sucking the Shlomo's cock. It's sucking Israel's cock. My point is, It's disgraceful. It's fucking disgraceful and should be taken no honor out of it. Like, I understand if you're fucking poor and desperate. You're a Chicano in Texas and you're desperate. You need money. You needed it, or you weren't aware of my ideology, and so you went in and did it. You're ignorant, or you're either ignorant or super poor. I can understand, but if you're aware of what's going on, you're aware of what Latinos need to do to reclaim our nations and make them ethnically pure again, and you join the U.S. military, you're a fucking cuck. Okay, you're a fucking cuck. It's disgusting. Don't please. Jamás dices tú entre militar de Estados Unidos. It's offensive to me. It's fucking offensive. It's offensive to everybody in the chat. Don't do that.
But if the Colombian military is as what Hugo Chavez says, basically just Israel in the Americas, like, how is it that different? Why wouldn't it make more sense to just join the U.S. military if they're both serving the same people?
I mean, I'll tell you what. It is true. You do have a point.
Like, I might as well join the military that actually gives me like free tuition and shit when I'm done.
Well, it's less. Well, Hugo Chavez was right to an extent, but the Colombian military is less Judaic than, and you should serve your nation's military. Period. So that's my answer there. It's less Judaic. You need to fight the Ashkenazi Jew at all turns and opportunities. It's your duty.
I see. What other questions do we have here for the chat? I want to see what else we have here. So Ortega, what is your opinion on Daniel Ortega?
He's a KGB cuck. He's a fucking agent of the fucking KGB. The Sandinistas, I don't know. I don't understand how people literally go on here and they're like, Ortega's against the U.S. Simon Bolivar would have loved him. He's based. The Sandinistas were completely funded by the KGB. I mean, that is like the pre. If you ever think KGB versus CIA, what was their one big battle? It was the Contras versus the Sandinistas. Everybody fucking knows this. Not everybody, because he's even asking me this. Yes, if you worked with the fucking Slavs, fuck you. Okay? That fucker's destroyed the nation. He's corrupt as fuck. His wife is ugly as shit, and she makes the nation look as about ugly as she is with her shitty little pink buildings. And he's disgracing Catholicism. He's letting foreigners in. He's, fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. I don't like him. The actual Sandino, I mean, he could have been a little bit more of a nationalist, but first time he was good. He was okay. I liked him. He was a good leader, solid.
All right. So Sandino was good. Ortega is a KGB cuck.
KGB cuck. You know what the KGB was, right?
Yes. I guess the top military intel that existed in the Soviet Union at the time.
Bingo. Makes me very disappointed. Listen, let me tell you something. I remember I was talking to this kid on Discord, Puerto Rican. He lives on like the west side of the island. I'm like, I don't know. And he's like telling me his school is shit. I'm like, do you know who Simon Bolivar is? And he's like, no clue. Is that like was that like a famous fisherman or something? I'm like, oh my god. Oh, Che Guevara. He was also. I mean, listen. People will bring up that he started to not like the Soviet Union later in life. Sure. Here's my opinion, Che Guevara. He had Irish blood, so fuck him.
Irish blood, so he's condemned.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you have an Irish ancestor somewhere down the line?
No, I'm pure.
You're pure.
I am pure.
So do you have Taino ancestry as well?
I have 90% Iberian blood. I have 5% Amerindian Taino blood, and then I have 5% Gran Negro blood, particularly coming from the Mbundu Fernandinos from the south of Angola, and then 2.5% out of Senegambia.
Well, that blood is very prominent in you right now, I must say. I feel the feistiness, It's not a bad thing.
Fuck you.
No, I'm cracking a joke.
No,
dude.
fuck you. No, I don't find that funny. It's a racial comment. I don't like that at all.
I have like roughly the same amount as well. It just hasn't came out of me.
All right. Well, you just watch your fucking mouth, man. That's a very disrespectful thing to say. I don't like that. I'm not trying to disrespect you, man. I don't like that. Stop that shit. I don't like that.
No, it's banter, dude. It's fine.
It's not funny.
Anyway, to me, it's funny, and that's what counts. But anyway,
yeah, whatever.
People are accusing you of being low-key Irish, though, in the chat.
They're wrong.
But like, let's say you were. Like, what's the big
No.
deal if you were? Like, let's say you have a great grandparent from Ireland. Like, does this change the trajectory of your
I'll tell you what I
life?
do. I tell you what I do. Imagine this is a. Let me pull eye gun. Let me pull eye gun. Give me a second. Let me show you what would be my procedure if I come out here. I'm like, holy shit, I'm Irish.
Just like tiny percent Irish, less than
Give me
your
a second.
black.
Give me a second. I'm pulling it up. Give me a second. I'm gonna show you what I would do. I would show you what I do. I get the 23 in me. I'm like, okay, well, that's Judaic. So I'm like, let me get answer. Well, that's also owned by a Jew. I'm like, okay, let me get 20, including one owned by a Wignat, one owned by a Nignat, one owned by a Chinese. So I know out of all of them, there has to be some level of truth to it. So I go on there and I'm like, oh my God, no. Dios mío. 100% Irelandia con. Estoy perdiendo dinero. No! Let me show you what I do. What I do is I take something out like this. Put the magazine in. All right, that's what I do.
Well, why? Like, why? Why would you do that?
Because I would be subhuman. I'd be inferior.
Just for having a tiny bit of Irish ancestry. I don't think
If
so.
it's like really tiny, it has to be like 1%.
See, to me, it's like. I mean, you can talk all the shit about Bukele that you want, but it's like that guy's more in touch with like the cultures that have created Latin America than like the majority of cultures
Culture.
watching this,
Genetically, he's
including
fucked.
me.
Genetically, he's fucked, and he's done fuck things that can point directly as. If he was full-blooded Latino, he wouldn't have made Bitcoin the currency. Guarantee you. He's a servant of Israel.
I can see a silly Latino like Petro doing something like that. Like, it doesn't seem that out of place.
Is Petro full-blooded? Give me a second. I think isn't he like 10% Italian?
Who knows? I mean, Colombia, there's a lot of people. Like, I met a lady at the store the other day who had a grandparent from India, and like,
Yeah. Look at this. Petro was born in Ciénaga de Oro in the department of Cordoba in 1960. His great-grandfather, Francisco Petro, migrated from southern Italy in 1870. Yeah. See, I was right. He's a fucking Tano. See, you were like, oh, he's full-blooded. No, he isn't. Tano.
he had me fooled.
That's how they get you. Cue the fucking Godfather theme.
All right, let's see here. What other questions do we have from the chat? We got a lot actually now. Pablo Escobar had Tano.
There it is. Every time.
Dude, but I mean, like, if we're gonna play this game of like anyone that's a tiny bit this is gone, it's like that's like a giant chunk of like all of these countries.
Not gone. Listen, like, I mean, hey, somebody's got to clean the toilets, you know. The half-bloods will be barred from joining the military. They'll be barred. They'll be subjugated to official discrimination. Listen. In my server, I have a lot of people who are only half Latino, and properly, I treat them like the shit they are. You need a meat shield. You need a McDonald's. You need a fast food worker. You need somebody to strap a bomb to. You need a meat shield. You need these people who's they exist for these reasons. And we're us purebloods, and those closer to purity will be granted a higher and higher position in life, as is fair.
All right, so we have Fonz in the stream here joining us.
Hey, what's up? What are you guys talking about?
He's talking about purging everyone in Latin America who has maybe ancestry that's Tano.
Below 30. But my percentile is below 33% Latino blood.
Okay, below 32% Latino blood, they gotta go.
They gotta go.
What do you think about that?
Alive or dead, they gotta go.
I hear you out. Sometimes I agree with that statement. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Fonz, what nation do you come from?
America, the United States.
Yeah, I know, but what Latino nation?
Mexico.
Outstanding. You look at a lot of the high tier financiers of the cartels. Guess what they all have in common?
They all look like me. No, really.
No, they don't. They're Lebanese. Carlos Slim, they're Lebanese. They're fucking Lebanese.
You're talking
Phoenicians,
about
Carthaginians,
boys.
Carthaginians.
Yeah.
Also, do you have your mustache?
I can't grow one, bro. That's all. I didn't get the mustache. I got the beard. I didn't get the mustache.
How the fuck do you have it? How do you have like a full beard? You can grow a full beard, but also please lose some weight.
Bro,
It's not
I
good
don't
for your
know.
health.
It's probably my pops. My pops can't grow a mustache either for whatever reason.
Are you telling me it just grows in shittily, like a Afro Anglo, or you're saying it's like it just doesn't grow? Period.
I guess that's like where the native genes are concentrated. I guess that's. I never got it, bro.
Do you shave or trim your mustache?
That's it, bro. I have a small ass mustache.
Okay, well, use minoxidil. I suggest you use minoxidil and use a derma roller. That would help.
All right.
You could also look into using finasteride or some other
No,
chemicals.
don't use finasteride. It's really bad for you. I can attest. It's not worth it.
Well, never mind on that front then. But anyway, minoxidil, derma roller. There's some other methods to increase some growth here.
I think at some point you just have to accept what you're gonna be in life. Like in 10 years, like I'm gonna be bald and I'm just gonna shave my fucking head, and it is what it is. Like you have to.
Man, when I start balding, I don't care. I don't care if I only have it down here. I ain't shaving for shit. I ain't cutting shit. You know. I'll rock the skullet. I don't care. The men are supposed to have long hair. They're supposed to have long beards, long hair, if they can. I'm not. For those who are like they have to be bald because they can't grow hair. They just can't. I got no problem because they can't control it. But for those who can control, I don't think it's a good excuse. In fact, you Guillermo, grow out your hair, grow out your beard, lift weights.
That's fine. Let's say I do all that. It's like Latin America has not been saved by me doing these things.
Yeah, but you'll look better. You'll look like more of a man.
Thank you. I'm glad. Now, anyway, I'm kind of curious. I just want to ask Stephanie something a little bit because I'm kind of curious about like the other people that were always around the circle for like the past few years since like COVID. Like people like Radical Latino, people like Fighter. What happened to all these people? Like, can anyone in the chat tell me what's happened? Because I haven't been checking on them in like well over a year.
Well, dude, I just want to say one thing. Everybody in the chat, if you ever see Kim123, make sure you go and tell him to let me back on because he's had me banned for a long time now. It's very unfair.
Oh my God, Kim, is he still like crying about black people every night? Is that what he does still?
Gringos. He cries about gringos. Dude, it's. I want to say this, Guillermo. Like, listen, we got off to a rocky start because I'm very verbose. I talk a lot, and I know that's people. You know what? You listen to me. You've been mostly respectful. Give and take.
Crack some jokes that are in bad taste, but yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. You're telling me, oh, I don't like it, I'm gonna kick you. Let me tell you something. Every fucking minute you don't say something Kim likes, muted. Oh, yeah, muted. He's a fucking tyrant. He's a StreamYard tyrant. It's North Korea in his fucking StreamYard. Hate it.
Look, the last time I talked to Kem, he was just very obsessed with black Americans, and it's just I don't have time for that. It's like these people are the underclass of the United States. It's like
no, I mean they're the gringos. You know what I don't like? He complains, but he never offers a solution. It's not that hard. Pass a law saying gringos cannot have sex with Latinos. There, problem solved. It's that fucking simple. That simple.
So is he still posting? Is he active?
Yeah, he is. Man.
What about Chivo? Is Chivo still around?
Oh, Chivo's such a fucking idiot, man. This guy's such a fucking idiot. Some gang trash. Some gang fucking trash. I like to put a fucking gun in that cocksucker's head. Fucking worthless use of waste. Waste of fucking oxygen.
So it says here, nobody posts regularly, but Fighter and Kem. I'm not in the circle, but you were all entertaining as hell. Okay. All right, so what do we do with the white people in Latin America?
Don't say that the whites. There is no the whites. There's not all Europeans are the same, Guillermo. Now, if you talk about Okay, listen. I'm gonna tell you all the
I'm guessing he's
good
probably referring
Europeans.
to white Americans and like.
Yeah.
Europe.
What? Obviously. Let me tell you all the good. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. He's talking about Chorizo. Chorizo? That's not good. They're called Euromutts because they'll be like, you go to Kansas City, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm German, Irish, English, Russian. They're fucking mutts. That's why they just say they're white, because they literally have no idea. They have no idea where the fucking Europe they even come from, because they're mutts. They were built by Ashkenazi Jews with the establishment of the United States. Built like Frankenstein's monster. Same with the Afro-Anglos. But here's all the good Europeans. Spaniards, obviously. Claro que sí. Portuguese. Basque. Occitanians. That's the south of France. And we got to be really careful there, because there's a lot of gabachos who moved down there, a lot of Arabs, there's a lot of problem in the south of France. We got to be very careful. Got to jab you. Got to take your blood sample, look at it. Got to be very careful. Sardinians. Now you may be like, Foco, why Sardinians? It's a very isolated area. They have EEF blood. That's the good blood. And all in all, they remained mostly pure. Corsia, likewise, a little less. There's a little bit of fucking wops and gabachos that came down there, but nothing too major. We can solve it. Do a little bit of eugenics, some CRISPR data manipulation when they have kids. We can do a little bit of that. In virtual. We can use the ciencias to ayuda our brothers over there. Ligurians. You may like, Foca, that's northwest Italy. How? Again, the Ostrogoths did not settle there. The Romans, they didn't like to settle there because they had the Gauls right up there, and in general they wanted to like settle at the borders of the Gauls to like reinforce. So Liguria didn't really it didn't fit into the equation. It's real middleness kind of actually saved it, because it's really kind of middle of Europe in a way if you consider it from back then. And that's it. Everybody else in Europe is inferior to us in one way or another. They're dumber, weaker, and everybody, unless I just said right now, needs to get the fuck out. You need to get the fuck out. Germans, Slavs, Irish, English, Baltics, Greeks. Greeks are pedophiles. Can't have that around. Gotta get them out of here.
Just Greek people.
Greeks, get them the fuck out. Get them the fuck out. You get it.
Okay. And let's see here. There was a question.
Again, they have to be deported. So the major regions. Okay, now I'm gonna answer this.
This is every Mexican nationalist like favorite question, like people to talk about. Haitians. Let's talk about these people.
No, I want to say
if you talk to a Mexican nationalist on Twitter, like they think that like Haiti's gonna take over that country like tomorrow.
It's I want to say something. It's very it's very racist. It's very ignorant, going on it, because let me answer this in full. Haitians are full-blooded Latinos. They are, and let me explain why. Because here's something you need to understand. Africa is not one ethnic group. Okay, there isn't the same way there's no the whites, there is no the blacks. It's not the same shit. You mean like, oh well, Foca, the colonial powers, they just got their West Africans wherever, they all mixed up. No, there was a mixing, yes, but different colonial powers did not get the same people from the same regions. Here's the good ones I call them gran negros, because I only think negro sounds simplistic, so I say gran negro for a pure-blooded one. Let me tell you about them. They came from Senegambia. They come from Voltaics. What is a Voltaic? South Nigeria, Benin, Togo, those regions.
Yeah.
A little bit Burkina Faso. And then Fernandino Bantu. That's like middle west of the Bantu regions. The Fang, Mbundu, and you cut it across to the east with a little groups there up into the Makawa. These free groups, there's hundreds of little groups within, but when they mixed, they made the perfect African. They're already perfect, but this was a proper mix. The same way when a Spaniard marries a Sardinian, no problem. Is it different? Yes, but like a good omelet, mixes the wear better. Now, okay, could I do one N-bomb, Guillermo, or
No, we're not doing that here.
Could I do a soft A?
Yeah, go for it. One time.
Now for these niggas, they come from Congoloids. So that's like dead center. That's like the Luba down to the aforementioned Congo or the Congo, whatever you want to fucking call them. Western Sahelian, so that's like Hausa, Kanuri, and then Akans, that's like Ghana, a little bit surrounding region. Is that all of them? Congoloids, Akans. Monday. Yeah, I know I was missing one. South of Mali. So this made something awful. So when you go to Anglo colonies, you're gonna find that that's what they are. They're subhuman. They're inferior, and you get what you get. You get what you get. They're dumb. They're what we know as Afro-Anglos. Now Haitians, they don't have this. What Haitians actually are, it's actually interesting to note, is they do have a little bit different African ancestry. For example, the thing with Dominican Republic and Haiti is that DR, most of the African, because Spain and France, they both controlled and they got their slaves. For Spain, they actually had more Senegambians and Voltaics in in the DR than as compared to Haiti, which had more Fernandino Bantu and less Voltaic. That's why if you put like a pure black Dominican, a pure black Haitian, you're gonna notice the Dominican's a little bit taller, his face is a little bit more angular, and then the Haitian's a little bit more stocky. It's because literally like they're both equal. They're both equal in IQ, but cosmetically they look a little different. But my answer is, first of all, the Haitians have not caused any problems in Mexico. There's no they ain't blasting NWA. They ain't blasting any being like they ain't being Afro-Anglos. They're literally there they don't even want to be in Mexico. Most of them were in Chile, which are doing fine. They caused no issues there. They caused none. Well, I mean, they ate a bunch of dogs there, but they were wild dogs. They were hungry.
Yeah, I'm not super sympathetic to wild dogs. I've been around them.
Hey, listen, they didn't rob anyone. They just, I know a lot of Chileans are like, oh, we love those fucking dogs, and they fucking ate them. Well, they're wild. They were hungry. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, listen, you can't call them. Listen, man, if I'm fucking hungry, I'm homeless, and I don't want to be rude and interrupt people. Maybe, I don't. Here's saying I don't want to eat a rat because a rat has so many diseases. There's this little wild dog. It's really easy to eat. It's not a big deal. It's not a fucking big deal. I don't know why the Chileans get all bumped out about that, but yeah, I would like to say the Haitians are good people. I have many Haitians in my. Well, actually, not many. Well, we used to have many, but savory members of my server kind of bullied them out, which they were punished for that. But I have Haitians in my server. They've all been, they've all been very smart, good people, and they're full-blooded Latinos. And I want there to be peace between Haiti, and Dominican Republic. They're brothers, and they should focus on the real enemy. The real enemy being Israel and gringos. Gringos being, of course, the golem of the Ashkenazi Jews.
All right. Now, let's see here. Stephanie says Guillermo used to like blacks, then he took the Chivo pill. I don't dislike blacks at all. I haven't said anything negative.
Afro-Anglos. You mean Afro-Anglos, right?
Sure, or Afro-Saxons, however you'd like to call these people, but it's like, it is what it is. To me, like in the United States, based on my experience in Chicago, is like blacks are either like
Afro-Anglos.
They're either super annoying to be around or they're like super chill, and they're usually like extremes when you meet them.
You know what happened in 1980 Liberia?
What happened?
Oh, you don't know. Let me tell you a little story right here, man. All right. So back in the 1800s, the abolitionists, their original plan actually wasn't to, let Afro-Anglos be citizens. In fact, a lot of founding fathers, what their actual idea was, that when they became free, they would just go back to Africa. Now, of course, these people were all these WASP were also stupid, and they didn't know what. Right as they got them, they immediately forgot where, and then they already had kids. So they had, needless to say, they already mudded. They were already all speaking English. They had no idea where the fuck to put them. When all these free men, so these abolitionists, they did the American Colonization Society, taking the one piece of land that had not been seized, which was this little strip of land, Liberia. Now, I want to tell you something really funny. The people that lived along the coast there, They're called the Crew, KRU. And what's really funny is that they had a reputation for being really into naval business. So the Crew was Crew. Anyway, there's also Mandate to the northeast. So they start shipping them all over there, and and what the Afro-Anglos proceeded to do was pure evil. They enslaved. They called them Kongao. Because these were mostly Congoloids. They called them Kongao, and the Kongao, as I'm not going to keep referring to them, they enslaved them. They raped their women. They beat them for no reason. They subjected them to extreme discrimination. Liberia actually became one of the richest nations, particularly during World War II. They were like, because you had these colonial powers, and I fucked it up when you had Vichy France and all that they were like a steadfast ally, that they just got all this money. Like, let me tell you, it was, you know how the niggas are like, I'm sorry. The Afro-Anglos, you know how it was like, oh my God, if you were a black man in Alabama, it was hell on earth. 1920, it was hell on earth. I'd rather be an Afro-Anglo in 1920s Alabama than living in Monrovia. It's the capital's called Monrovia because of James Monroe. He was a heavy funder. And let me tell you something. Afro-Anglos, they were full in with the Ashkenazi Jews. They had a Freemason lodge every fucking block in Monrovia. Every block there was a fucking it was the most Freemason nation in the world per capita. You know? And this just continued until finally in 1980, this crewman called, what's his name? John, I think his name was literally John Doe. Give me a second. 1980 Liberian coup. Samuel Doe. Where Samuel Doe, you know, he went and they threw the Afro-Anglos out. They threw them back, and a lot of them they went back to the United States, and it's amazing. Because listen, you talk to the English that were in fucking Rhodesia. Those guys were loud. They immediately, when they got to Australia, they got to UK, they were loud. They got in the community. Everybody fucking knew it. But with the Kongao who went back to the hood, they went back. Well, they didn't go back. They went to the middle class neighborhoods. Nothing. No movie. No mention. They were quiet. But I want to make this clear that whenever you see Tyrone, Laquishon, Derek, Marabou, when you see him going, all this black man together, Black Lives Matter, all blacks are equal, the tribe, we all brothers, Let that fucking monkey know that he was the only African. By the way, they're also like on average 20% English. All these Africans, they got thrown the fuck out of the one nation they went back to. And to this day, with all the massive civil war, all the chaos, most you ask any crew in Liberia, they'll go and tell you, worth it. All the cannibalism, all the general butt naked, all that shit, worth it. That's how fucked the Afro-Anglos were. You know? So
I'm glad. Okay, so we went over that.
I'm very, you know, you learned something new about history today, Guillermo.
I did, because I don't know a lot about Africa. I'm pretty ignorant on that topic.
I need to study more about Austronesians. You know, there are people. By the way, I back Austronesians as I'm gonna make this super quick. So
Austronesians.
Indians.
Who are you referring to here?
Malaysians, Indonesians, Filipinos.
Okay.
Afro-Asiatics too. So Vietnam and Cambodia. They are okay. So basically, what I want to say is, the people who we call Indios that became Amerindians, they crossed Siberia. Yeah, so you're saying, okay, well, that must mean they're like related to Turks and Mongols, right? No, they did not. They did not have the means. You know the island of Taiwan, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
That's actually Formosa, and that's actually where, you know, all those hundreds of millions of Filipinos, Malaysian, there's like a shit ton of them, all came from that tiny little island, Formosa. From Formosa, they went to Japan. They were called the Homon. And actually, a Japanese is basically a Korean mixed with Filipino, because they had a Quranic invasion. And then from Japan, if you actually look at it, it's a much, you may say, oh shit, they have to go those boats up the north. Much easier than the massive deadly mountain passes, which, by the way, the Mongols and the Turks, they're all known for how well they use the horses, not back then. And then they cross Siberia okay, so basically Southeast Asians or Latino. That's the nitty of it.
All right.
They're superior to all later Asians.
Now, what about the Sephardic Jews of Latin America? What do you think about these people?
They're the ones actually related to Jesus. You take the Bible, you take up historical sources, and the Jews that killed Jesus became the Ashkenazim, our main enemy, and the ones that were irrelevant, the ones that nobody gave a fuck about, they became the Mizrahi because fuck them. And then the ones that were Galilean Jews that were with Jesus, they would move on to Iberia. So Sephardic Jew, good. Mizrahi, who cares? Falasha, who really cares? And then finally Ashkenazi, evil.
So pro Sephardim.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this level of nuanced conversation allowing you in, but I'm kind of glad I did it.
Yeah, don't be
Especially
assumptuous.
on the topic
Don't be
of
assumptuous.
the Afro diaspora in Latin America. I wasn't expecting to hear all of that.
No, I'm
Usually
very well.
Well, a lot of people have very dumb opinions on Haitians, I've noticed.
Yeah, because listen, they didn't pay attention to biology class. They go to university to make money. And listen, you know what university is about? Education and learning. That was its original purpose. And I want to say the reason gringo universities got really higher up than Latinos because Latinos, there's a lot of solid Latino universities which blow the fuck out of any Ivy Leaguer. Like Monterrey Tech in Mexico, you take the fucking worst student there, you put him against the best student of MIT, he's going to make that MIT kid look like a fucking retard. A straight sped. A straight fucking sped. Hey, momento, that's fine. You like to go me a fucking, you like to go me a speds? They'll make, those fucking Monterrey Tech guys, I don't fuck with them, man. Those guys are fucking brilliant, which is, such a terrible thing that, that the cartels, make life so horrible. Which, by the way, they were founded by the CIA, KGB, and Mossad. I want to make that very clear.
I'll say this: Intrepid Jaguar I will allow you on if Noel joins as well. If we can get both of you, I will be glad.
Yeah, Jaguar's on my server. You know that, right? You know he's on my server.
I did not. I don't use Telegram servers that much anymore.
No, my Discord. He's on my Discord. Oh, he's on my Discord. On my Telegram.
Any of these servers, I try to avoid them and just try to be more offline now.
Yeah, I just got back from them. You know what happened? I got back from the boxing gym. Now I go to my phone and Jaguar's like, "Yo," I'm gonna do my Jaguar impression. Hey, folk up, Billy's on. You should go on there, man. You know what it's saying is Billy Jaguar has like a very Pacific accent, but it's hard to hit it.
Yeah, it is very particular. I haven't heard too many.
I've never heard anyone who talks the way he does.
Jaguar, if I let you on, will you turn your cam on? I'll let you on if you turn the cam on without Noel.
Come on, don't do that. He's a shy guy, man. Listen, I know him. He's a good guy.
And we can talk Spanish too. That's fine. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to sound fantastic, but turn the cam on. Podemos hablar en español todo que tú quieres.
Guillermo, escúchame. Jaguar is no troll, okay? Jaguar is he's a private guy. He's a private guy, but he's been loyal to me. He's been actually a lot loyal than a lot of more senior members in the server. No, let me tell you. Like, I know it sounds like a little teen girl bitching, but there's a lot of guys in my server. They piss me off. And it's like they don't know how good they get it, man. There's fucking Discord servers with wignets and nignets who, if you piss them off remotely, if you say one thing they don't like, you say you like the color purple when they like blue, they'll just fucking yeet you. They'll fucking ban you instantly. And I give week out timeouts. I do all this shit, but really, I've been fair with these motherfuckers. I've been very fair with them, and they're not fair with me. They're acting like I'm this fucking tyrant. And really, I'm a lot more fair with them.
But yeah, Jaguar, these are my terms. Turn your cam on y podemos hablar todo el español que tú quieres.
Por favor, Guillermo. Jaguar no gusta por muchos gentes en chat mirar el cara. Imprivitado con solo
Para mí no importa.
Nosotros,
Yo quiero saber cómo Jaguar parece en realidad.
Jaguar no problema con tú miras el cara, pero por 10 gentes cuando Jaguar no sé, Jaguar es privado. Por favor, por favor.
No, él no necesita ser tímido conmigo. No me voy a hacer algo mal. Solo quiero saber cómo él parece. Estaba hablando con él para, Dios, 2 años ahora. ¿Por qué no puedo saber?
Porque Jaguar no gusta gente mira que es cara. Es fácil. Jaguar, Jaguar tiene un derecho de privado de identidad.
Esas son mis condiciones. Si él no quiere hacer eso, él no puede ir aquí.
Escúchame, en situation cuando yo miro weird conversaciones o escucho fucking gente, mi oponente se tenga conversaciones con Junior. Ok, I'll be like, ok. Dame tu cara. Pero, no. Jaguar es un, ¿cómo le dice la palabra por loyal?
I think it's like the same, loyal, no? I could be
Loyal,
wrong.
sí. Jaguar es un loyal gente.
Let's go back to English. This is anti-black.
No vende patria, no vende patria.
She's got a point. Talking in Spanish is anti-black, according to like half the people on Fighter streams, I believe. I speak for the black people watching.
What? Afro-Anglos? Fuck Afro-Anglos. You got kicked out of Liberia, bitch. And by the way, I would fuck you all up. You know the thing is about, I want to repeat this. The thing about fucking,
Stephanie,
the thing
why
about
don't you
Afro-Anglos.
Join, Stephanie, come on.
The thing about Afro-Anglos, dude, is that they're only tough when it's like 5-on-1. They sucker punch, they bring knives, they do all this punk shit, and they never get called out for it. It's bullshit,
And we don't have enough people ranting about black people on internet.
Afro-Anglos.
There's just not enough. We need more chems, obviously.
Don't compare me to that fucking pussy, man. I don't like that. It's a pussy.
No, I didn't compare you to that.
Thank you.
Wait, Stephanie's Haitian? I didn't know that. I thought she was Dominican. Strange. I mean, I don't care either way. It's like
Haiti's an outstanding nation. Haiti is an outstanding nation. And by the way, Stephanie, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna put my link in the chat. Please make sure to join. Well, obviously, I can't post the full, like the Discord, but I'll put like the late parts, like the. Give me a second. Look at it right here. I can see that the JHKJBANT. Yeah, for you guys who have Discord, if you guys got Telegram, let me get the Telegram link. By the way, no cuckery. Also, I'm like, you're not gonna see anything when you join at first. That's something that freaks out people. Like, oh my god, I'm being hacked. Or not being hacked. What I have it is, because listen, let me tell you, my server, I have no idea how we haven't been banned yet. Because like our entire existence is like everything the TOS tells us not to do, we're doing. Because we ain't bitches. Yet,
Nowhere. You're on. If you can turn your cam on, that'd be great.
Yeah,
but
I'll turn it on.
Sweet.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm on my phone.
No, that's fine. Great. I enjoy being able to actually know who I'm talking to. Like, it just feels like I can get on another level at that point.
Well, grow out your first of all, very good mustache, but grow out your hair and beard. Lift weights.
Yeah, I'm in my parents' basement, so it's kind of dark.
Okay. Understandable.
All right, so nobody, what is it that you want to talk about here?
I don't have a basement. What's it like having a basement?
It's chill.
No, honestly, it's great in the summer because like it's like honestly like 10 degrees cooler in the basement than in the house.
Guillermo and Noah, what do you actually use your basements for? Like,
I don't have a basement anymore. I used to when I had a house in the United States, but
what do you do?
I had like a giant ass like 70-inch like TV, so I would just kind of watch shit.
Yeah, the man cave.
It wasn't a man cave. It was just like I'd watch.
Nah,
shit.
that was a man cave.
No, my grandparents they just kept their guns in the basement.
Stephanie, join the stream.
I need to get
Let's talk
myself a
about
gun.
80
I
and
need to
all
get
the
myself a gun.
glory.
Yeah, I need to as well. I'm just like broke as fuck right now.
And this is what I mean. Like, what's the point in planning how to like take over Latin America when we're broke? That's like my point of this entire stream.
No, it's important. No, you gotta, because here's the thing, man. We're fighting Zog. We're fighting Zog, and Zog has all the money. So you gotta scratch down every dollar you can, legally speaking, of course, legally speking. And
Okay, let's see who Zodi is.
yeah. No, kick him, kick that guy,
Why?
kick that guy, kick him, just
Why?
kick him. I'll explain later. Kick him.
Okay, he's been kicked. Why? Explain now.
Huge enemy. Okay, let me explain to you. It'd be crazy to you. But basically, Zodi, he's like a 75% Mexican. He's like a quarter fucking Anglo-Germanic. He's a fat guy. He's a fat homosexual Mexican wignet. And he's just let me tell you, you did yourself a favor not letting him talk, man, because like that would have gone south.
Like, do you mean like he
wants to
support Mexicans from Mexico?
Him, man. So basically, because I want to say this to Jeffrey right there. Nick Fuentes is only a quarter Mexican. Okay, he is not a Castizo. A Castizo is 75% Iberian, 25% fucking Amerindian. He's not that. He's 25% fucking Mexican, and then he actually has more. He has more fucking South Slav blood, Balkan blood, than he does fucking Spanish. He has more English blood than he does Amerindian blood.
Told like Nick Fuentes is
I wouldn't let him in my server.
DNA test, dog. Like he's more Anglo than fucking Hispanic, dog.
No, he's not Anglo. He's a Tano. That's even worse.
Oh yeah, he has to be Italian blood.
I respect an Anglo way more than like a Tano living in Chicago. I'll say that.
English are fucked.
Much.
Anglos are subhuman too. They're different type of subhuman or subhuman. No, I say they're worse than Italians. They're worse than Italians.
I don't know. I don't dislike Anglos the way like a lot of people do now.
You should.
It's like a begrudging respect that I hold for them now.
No respect to them. They're fucking a main enemy.
That's fine. I just don't underestimate people who I can recognize.
Okay, don't underestimate them, but make sure you're ready to go down. Make sure you're ready to go down. Legally speaking, of course.
Oh shit, Chillin' and Grillin's right. I'm salty Pikachu wasn't allowed to have a third evolution. Very good point, Fonz.
Yeah, damn right.
Yep, Noel's correct. Anglos better than Ellis Islanders, always.
They're both Euromutts. Fuck. I mean nowadays England's about to become New Delhi.
I mean, when Britain was at its peak, like 60% of their economy was like dependent on India. So it is what it is. You want to live by the
Hey, you serve. Hey, listen, you serve Jerry Goldstein, you get Goldstein's rewards.
No, I gotta be honest, like I feel really bad for like European white nats because like imagine like your homeland is getting like fucking destroyed by the fucking Jews and shit, dog, and your entire ideology is to hate them. Like these guys are losing so hard right now.
All right,
well,
so
you need to understand that like
everybody
they also
stop.
You may think about it, but they actually inadvertently serve Israel most of the time.
Stop. I want to ask Pikachu real quickly. What account are you so I can let you in? Because we have like a few in the chat, and I want to know who you guys are. So we have Hispano, we have Beeper in the waiting room, we have Intrepid Jaguar, and he can only join if he shows me his camera. So who's coming on? Who are you guys? Is Pikachu Zodi or what are we doing?
Maybe. I don't know. Name doesn't ring a bell.
All right, let's see Hispano. Who's this?
Yo, I don't know who Pikachu is. I just joined.
Oh, what's up?
Watching the stream.
Yo, turn your camera on, Howard.
No, I don't do that. Do I have to? If I have to, I'll just leave the thing.
If you annoy me, I'll ask you.
All right.
Is that actually Beeper?
I don't know. I don't know who.
Yeah, Beeper's the guy from my. I will tell you. The thing about Beeper is he's not literally. He's a bitch. He's a bitch. And by the way, he's kind of like. He acts like a maricon. He acts like a maricon. He's a bitch. Beeper, you may not like it, but it's the fucking truth, man. You ain't a tough guy. Yeah, you ain't somebody I would let my daughter date. I'd see it and be like, hija, tu novio de esta? Ah, Cristo, no. That'd be the end of that. That'd be the end of that.
Wait, Guillermo, are you there?
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, if it's all right.
What do you want to know?
So I know you said you live
All
in
right,
the
Guillermo,
blackest
my
part.
parents are home, so I can't be screaming about the Ashkenazi Jews anymore. But let me tell you, it's been a wonderful time here. The links to my Discord and the Telegram, I put them in chat and in the private chat. So make sure you join. I will message you immediately. See who you are, give your roles. Guillermo, muchas gracias por por usted tiempo. Noel, you're fine. Nice talking to you. Hispano, didn't get to talk to you, but you seem all right. And yeah, pelea por Latinoamérica, unificar de todos latinos y muerta a todos gringos. Cuídate.
All right. Intrepid Jaguar, I see you in the thing here. You gotta no, you're not joining with a mask on. Like you're taking that off, or you're not joining. That's just
No. What's the funny mess though?
it's cute though. I'll let him on for like a second here, just because like there you go. But like you're not staying on until you take off the mask.
What the fuck, bro? Why can't I have a mask on?
Just take the mask off, dude. Come on,
Hell
nobody
no.
cares. Take it
Yo,
off.
why do you hate yourself, Guillermo? Why did you go to Colombia?
Why did I go to Colombia? Because I wanted to do something new. I felt like I was in a rut, and I felt like this was a good way to gain some life experiences that I'd been hoping to gain.
Okay, so are you planning on coming back?
If I want to, I'm not sure. I mean, at some point I'll have to.
Well, at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, I mean,
Aren't you a
America's
Colombian
kind of-
citizen?
I am a Colombian citizen, yes.
So why are you planning on going back?
Well, there's more economic opportunities in the United States than in Colombia.
Okay, so you're planning on going back and forth. Okay, so you don't know Spanish. You want me to speak to you in Spanish?
Si tú quieres hablar en español, pues podemos.
Sí. Entonces, ¿cómo es Colombia ahorita sobre los extranjeros? ¿Andan haciendo buen trabajo? ¿Andan comportando bien?
Colombia ahora es horrible. La inflación es peor. Los indigentes son multiplicando más con los días y en general es como tú puedes sentir en el aire que todo de Colombia quiere salir ahí de este país y ir a los
Yeah, you have
Estados
an
Unidos
accent.
o a España.
You don't know
Sí,
Spanish.
obvio, yo
Yeah.
tengo un acento. Yo soy de los Estados Unidos. Yo soy de Chicago. No soy estúpido.
Eres gringo, güey. Ni eres,
Sí, yo
no
soy
eres
gringo.
yo me imagino por allá en
Yeah,
Colombia.
Guillermo, don't let the Colombians call you white in Colombia.
No, ellos no dicen que soy blanco, solo gringo. Yo soy un indio, pero soy gringo.
Pues yo he visitado México y por allá, yo lo voy a admitir, ahí me trataban como un gringo también.
Claro,
pero
porque nosotros
ellos-
hablamos como gringos, porque somos gringos, Jaguar. Tú sabes eso.
Sí,
Esta
yo
realidad.
admito eso. Los dos somos gringos, pero yo sí sé español, entonces me trataron más mejor, me
Sí,
imagino.
pero tienes un acento, hermano. Se te
Sí.
nota, tú también.
El
Tú tienes un
hispano,
acento
hombre,
de pocho.
yo ya hablé contigo en mi canal de YouTube. Yo destruí todos tus argumentos en el
No,
debate
oh my God. No, you
sobre la pasaporte de
Look,
amigos.
Mira, tú dijiste la otra vez que hablé contigo, no os voy a decir esto rápido, que los mexicanos te miran como un
tú quieres que
mexicano.
México
Y
se
ahora,
haga como
espérate,
una
espérate,
Bruselas, desgraciado, güey.
espérate,
Tú
espérate.
quieres México que te haga un
Ahora estás
Bruselas.
diciendo, mira,
¿Quién no
mira,
quieres
ahora está,
América
wait,
Latina que
calm
te
down, calm
haga
down.
tradicional conservativo, donde tienes una esposa, te vas a la iglesia en los domingos y no hay prostitutas o encuerados mujeres en las calles?
Mira, es porque si tú
ya puedes
eres un
hablar.
pocho, te van a mirar como un estadounidense. Eso es la mayoría de las veces, yo creo.
Claro
Y la
que
otra
sí.
vez estabas diciendo que no te miran como estadounidense, te miran como mexicano y ahora estás diciendo que te miran como estadounidense. So, no sé lo que,
No, pues
si
yo
tienes
soy español.
esquizofrenia o no sé lo que está
Mi
pasando.
punto es que yo soy español y el debate que tuvimos era sobre el pasaporte de amigos. El Guillermo, yo me imagino, está de acuerdo conmigo. Él no quiere extranjeros. a andar follando pirujas o prostitutas
Para
en
mí,
Medellín, Colombia.
para mí no es tan importante que extranjeros son follando prostitutas en Medellín. Medellín tiene esta reputación
Pues
para
tú
un
ya
caso.
andas, tú admitaste a ti mismo que los gringos, más y más gringos, andan yendo en Colombia, ahí con muchachas que ni saben inglés, andan con los extranjeros hombres, lo andan aprovechando y todo. Entonces, esto sí puede crecer. Yo solo ando criticando este incidente o acontecimiento.
Pero ¿qué es tu punto, Jaguar? Es como sí, yo entiendo que gringos le gustan ir a lugares como Medellín, como México,
Y
Ciudad de México, todas sus partes que son llenos de pecados, ¿sí? Entonces, obvio, ellos van a ir ahí. ¿Y por qué yo me voy a hacer triste? Porque mujeres que son prostitutas van a follar con extranjeros. No es mi responsabilidad para salvar los prostitutas de Colombia. Eso es mi punto.
pues si tienes una identidad, debes de tener algún ambición a poder defender tu cultura, tu identidad. Como los latinos son orgullosos de sus países. Mexicanos son orgullosos de ser mexicanos, colombianos orgullosos de ser colombianos. Entonces, no, pero está bien, porque yo veo que tú naciste en Chicago y en Estados Unidos, entonces no te importa, claro, es
Pero
obvio,
mira, el problema de
no
prostitución
te
en general,
importa. Pero
no,
yo sí hablé con,
prostitución es un problema en todos sus países, en todas sus ciudades. Es algo triste. Yo no quiero que personas tienen esta vida, pero esta realidad de esta
wow,
planeta.
your Spanish is good. God damn. Fuck. All right, we can speak English.
All right,
Yeah,
let's talk
you
English then.
proving, you proving.
No, I'm not fluent. I have a lot more practicing
No,
to
you're
do.
actually really good.
I have a lot
You
more.
actually improved a
And my
lot.
conjugations are fucking horrible.
Nah, you know it, bro. You basically just know it.
Yo,
Nah,
how do
but
you say Chirac in Spanish?
No sé, Chirac.
I didn't think you were able to understand all of that. What the fuck? Nah, but I
Yeah,
actually wanted
dude.
to come on and come up because I didn't seen Billy in a while. I'm a huge fan. We have disagreements, but you know, who cares? People think I'm a troll, but I'm not. I hope I just proved that I'm not a troll.
Stephanie got
And I brought in
flirting now.
Foco. I brought in Foco on. Get fucking Hispano guy right here that's on my left, on my right, on my left, whatever. It's not cammed up.
No, but like Jaguar, don't you see my point though? That like Medellin has always been known as a super degenerate shithole with like, crime, with drug trafficking, with prostitution, and it's like for that reason Americans flocked over there. And it's like, yeah, I can be upset, but it's like Paisas made that decision to remove God from their city, from their department in general. And it's like, these are the results that you're going to reap. And it's like, why am I going to get upset that, oh, now these prostitutes are with Americans? It's like, yeah, these prostitutes were being exploited by like Colombians who were already pieces of shit before Americans ever came here. And that's still a problem. That's my thing. It's like prostitution's sad, whether it happens, whether it's
Yeah, but they're
your own
Colombian.
people doing it.
They're
Okay, yeah, it's
Colombian.
Colombian. That's even more reason to be ashamed.
Well,
It's like, yeah, prostitution's bad, and it's like, yes, sometimes Americans come and have sex with them, but
no, they know.
most of
They're
these women have clients from Colombia. Most of their clients are Colombian, and it's like, I don't feel good that like weird, degenerate Colombians are fucking these prostitutes instead, or if it's gringos.
Yo, how do
I
you
mean,
feel
like
about
if you have
Castro?
termites in your country, like why do you have termites in your house? Like
no.
like you can't just
no.
blame foreigners, right? You have to like look inside yourself and be like, what are we doing wrong, right? Like why are we allowing this? Like what's the reason we're allowing this, right? It's probably because Colombia has gone through like the sexual all countries in Latin America have. It's not LARP, right? But like it's
Yeah.
probably one of the more heavily affected, right? And it's more open all this stuff, right? And they're poor and they see a white guy, they see him like an ATM machine. They're like, yeah, I mean, they're
Why not?
poor, like they're trying to make money. You know what I mean?
No, but like, what my point is that there's also a culture clash. Colombians who fuck Colombian prostitutes speak the same language, so there's no disadvantage, no miscommunication, no exploitation
There's no
in a massive
exploitation.
manner compared
Come
to
on,
a
dude.
gringo. No, come on, compared to a gringo who doesn't know fucking a lick of Spanish. You said it yourself. They pulled out their fucking Google Translate. Well, like there's going to be some miscommunication on the price, and there's some the gringo male is gonna get his life in but put his life in danger. These guys are getting drugged. They're getting fucking scopolamine. They're
Yeah, you're gonna lose some
they're
organs,
getting
dog.
killed. These guys, gringos, are getting killed. So, like, I don't know why you're promoting this. Like,
I'm not
you're
promoting it.
literally.
I'm telling you, this is
Well,
the
you're saying you don't
reality.
care.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not critiquing it.
it's what
You're
it
not
is,
talking
dog.
back to it.
What am I
If you
gonna
stay
do? Like,
silent, then
oh,
you're
I
defending it.
care. Let's say I
Yeah,
care. Then like
Jagger, what
nothing
the fuck you gonna do to end prostitution? Are you gonna like go up to every pimp and
I
like shoot
went
him
to
in the head?
Guadalajara. I went to Guadalajara
This
the
and this
beginning of this
profession
year.
has existed everywhere in every country on earth since the beginning of time. It's
Yeah,
like
man,
I'm
yeah,
not.
man.
What am I
As long
gonna
as like
do?
as long as there's men with money, there's fucking bitches who like spread their legs for that money, dog.
Yeah.
And also, you know, shit, I lost my train of thought.
It's all
But
right.
yeah,
It
there's a
happens.
culture clash. The gringo is also, bringing in, um, Western ideologies over. These guys are living there. You
Yeah,
said it
but like
yourself in Medellin. You're
Western
living there.
ideology is
They're
not being spread to
interacting.
Colombia via like guys pulling out their Google Translate
Thank
and
God
like
I'm not
talking
Colombian.
to a woman.
All
It's
right,
coming through
fuck
Netflix.
yeah,
It's coming
Colombians.
through like top 50 pop music. It's coming through NGOs. It's coming through. It's not like the fat 50-year-old American who can't speak Spanish and using
Oh,
Google
I see it.
Translate.
I see it, bro. You don't imagine it. No, but thank God I'm not Colombian. Mexico doesn't have this problem. As
Mexico doesn't
Mexican,
have a problem of Americans coming there to like
not as
use
much
their
as
dollars
Colombia.
to exploit women. And
Not
this
as
is
much as
delusional.
Colombia.
Come
And
on.
I like how OG pull up and you came up. Like I like how this is my first time camming up ever. Like I cammed up. You guys did the cam up, so I cammed up.
Yeah, yeah, dog.
So you pull
Dog,
up.
we're scared that we're gonna get
I'm out
doxxed
here
by
in LA
Antifa,
too.
dog.
We're in the same. You're probably
No,
in
wait, you're
Colombia
saying your
too.
fucking
Wait,
address? Yo, Jaguar, see your address if you're not scared.
I'm not getting doxxed like that
He
shit.
doesn't need to say his address, but it's like,
Nah, I cammed
Jaguar,
up.
are you Dominican or what are you again? It's Stephanie's
Oh, I'm
asking.
Mexican. I'm
Okay, okay.
100% Mexican, full Mexican blood from Jalisco. I'll
I
have
see.
a Iberian blood definitely.
But yeah, as Noel's saying, Mexico is a child sex destination. Canadians are notorious for going to Mexico, literally just for that. Tijuana, Mexico City, these are places that are very close to America. It's very easy to jump in a car or on a bus or on a plane. Boom, you're there in 2 seconds. It's probably worse in Mexico City than in Medellin, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares if it's better or worse anyway? It's like it's still happening. And it was still happening before the gringos ever came here. That's my point.
So did OG influence you to go down to Latin America?
To a large extent, yeah, he did.
Oh, okay, very interesting.
He said it would be a good experience for me, and I think he was right.
Wait, Guillermo, I kind of want to get back to the. Well, I want to ask you a question, right? Because you mentioned that you know why people immigrate out of Colombia, right? Like you can see it. Like,
Yeah.
would the biggest thing be like what? There's like no economic opportunity. Would it be crime? Like, what do you think it is?
I mean, these things are all interconnected. They're not separate things. So I'll give an example. Like people are naturally way more like entrepreneur in spirit than like in Colombia or in Mexico, than like in like the United States. Like a lot of people will have like a formal job that they go to. At the same time, they'll have like their side hustle where maybe they'll sell things on the side at their job, or maybe they'll have like a bodega, something like that, right? Thing is like, let's say you have a side hustle. Well, the local gangs find out about that, and then they come to you and they're like, well, now you got to pay taxes to us. And it's like this becomes this whole fucking game where it's like you just want to have a normal life. Everything's getting more expensive by the day, especially under Petro. Things have gotten way worse. Like food is like double in price at the grocery stores than what it was like 3 years ago. And all the wages have stayed the same or they've gotten lower. So it's like, what the fuck do you do? And then when these people try to do side hustles, they get like extorted by gangs. Like one of my cousins, one of his side hustles was he had like a little farm, and he'd grow like he had a bunch of chickens there, and he'd sell eggs on the side. Well, some local gang tried to extort his egg money. Yeah, they tried to extort his egg money, and he said
Bro,
no.
bro.
So they shot him 6 times. He survived, but he was like, "Damn, like I got shot for not paying an egg tax." Like that's Colombia.
Bro, no, those guys are dumb. They're fucking trying to
Yeah,
get like pennies, dog. Like,
yeah, fucking. So, Cali, I imagine Cali, Colombia is more, native, right? There are not
Native how?
foreigners.
I mean, you see a lot of Black Americans like to go to Cali, believe it or not, for like vacation. But no, they
Fuck
don't.
Black Americans.
They don't usually stay in Cali, if that makes sense. Medellin is like where the foreigners, where the expats, where they have a remote job, where they like to live, especially in El Poblado. But yeah,
Are they like young like me, or are they older?
some are young, but generally speaking, they're at least in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They're very obvious when you see them like in stores or at restaurants. Usually they're like with a girlfriend, and like they only speak English with their girlfriend because she knows how to speak enough English and they don't bother to learn Spanish.
Yeah, those are
That's what you see.
prostitutes.
And it's like
Yeah,
those girls
those
are
are
cheating
trash.
on these guys. Like I
Yeah,
already
those
know how
those
this
women
goes
that
down.
know a little English,
Yeah.
those women are pros. Like, I'm
Yeah, they're
sorry, you're not
pros. They're
getting
pros
the
with men in their own country already.
like, yeah. These oh fuck.
But that's what I'm saying. Like these girls, I know these types. These girls, they'll be with their boyfriends from America or from Canada who can't speak English, and then they're still seeing like other guys on the side. Like they're just using their boyfriend for money. I know how this game works. And it's like, yeah, you can feel bad and you can play Captain Save a Hole.
Wait, don't get
you
rid
get
of the
mad.
other guy. There's a backstage, right? In Turbo
Yeah.
Jaguar. Don't get rid of that
Why?
because I have like my PC, my
Oh,
cam
okay.
is
I
on
didn't.
my
Okay.
laptop. But
I see.
I'll head out. I guess I just said everything I wanted to say. You know,
You don't have anything else you want
why
to talk
did you
about?
go to Colombia, live there?
Well, I felt like I needed
And
to learn Spanish, and like I feel
yeah,
like the
and your
10 months
Spanish
I've
did
been
get
here,
better. Like, holy
it did
shit,
get
you
better.
surprised
Yeah,
me.
it did.
Like,
Yeah.
Spanish is a easy fucking language. Like, holy shit, that's another disadvantage that us Hispanics have. Spanish is so easy to learn. 3 months, you're fluent.
I
Like,
wouldn't say
Google
3 months.
Translate is fucking retarded for Spanish. I'm sorry.
You need more than 3 months, I think.
No, there are guys out there who learn in 3 months fluently like you. So like, yeah. So yeah, I feel like I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah. Give them a peace out. Nobody Hispano, peace out. Later.
All right.
Peace out, man.
Jaguar actually
yeah,
came on. Surprised.
man, I gotta say, I've been reading this book, and dude, this guy's fucking deranged, dude. This guy's a fucking loser, like Hitler. Like he's
I've
fucking coping. He like writes about he's coping how like Jewish men are fucking German girls and shit, dog.
there are a lot of loser tendencies in Mein Kampf, but I want to be fair to Hitler a little bit too, in that like he took a lot of risks. He joined the military, fucking almost went blind, tried to join again, and they wouldn't let him. And then like he managed to like take over the political structure of his country. Like in terms of losers, you could do a lot worse than him. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, did he fuck it up in the end? Of course, but it's like he's not the worst success story on the planet. That's all I'd say. Like for a guy who was determined to like be the head honcho of Germany, like he did okay. He had some abilities and some willpower. But it was still massive fuck ups in other ways too, obviously. That's what I would say. But yeah, Mein Kampf gets really boring after the first few chapters. The first like
Yeah,
like
like, I'm
7
like-
chapters are like the best.
Yeah, I'm like almost halfway into it.
Yeah, it gets boring as shit.
Yeah.
He also talks a lot about Slavs like invading Germany. Like he gets really mad about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't understand like these Nazis. Like when I'm reading like Mein Kampf, it's like Hitler like has a different definition of who's considered like a part of his like nation. Like first he's like fucking like he talks about like different nations, like the French nation and like the Italian nation. But then he says Aryan, like all Europe's like the same nation or some shit. So I don't know what his like deal is. And they talk shit about the fucking Slavs and shit. Like, I don't really think it's like consistent to me. I don't know.
Well, that's sort of the thing about Hitler and his whole life. It's like he had to balance like his autistic thoughts versus like what's going to be politically
His
viable.
pragmatic thoughts versus autistic
Yes.
thoughts.
Yeah. Like this dude said in private that like Iberians were better off under Islam, which is like anyone that knows that history knows like that's not true.
Yeah, I don't think Hitler was particularly a historian. I don't know.
No. Especially not on Spain and Spanish America. So let's see here. What else do we have? What other questions do we have from the chat here? Anyone else that wants to join? So let's see. We have Passport Bros. They get played regularly. They do. I don't see why people get so obsessed with them. Like yeah, like Tyrone Biggums from Georgia goes and he gets played by like some black Colombian girl that knows exactly what to say and do to make him feel special. It's like, I'm supposed to get jealous by this? Why? I don't know. All right, Hispano, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm back, sir. I just wanted to. Sorry, I was gone for a bit. I heard the crime thing about your cousin. That's unfortunate. It was your cousin, right?
Yeah, he survived. Like he's living. He's fine. He's just
Yeah.
he got shot 6 times for not paying the eggs tax.
Yeah. Do you know what he got shot with? Like, was it like a 9mm or fucking?
I don't
22?
fucking know. Probably a shitty pistol of some sort.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask you. I remember I watched that one stream with Tercio and OG and you, and Tercio was saying like, just don't be a pussy or something like that. It was a while ago. I don't remember that much, to be fair. But, like he was saying, like, don't be a pussy. Like nothing will happen to you. Like it's like you just don't be dumb. But like I do think crime is a serious problem in like Colombia, Mexico, a lot of other countries. It's not just like don't be a pussy. Like people get killed for like you're not even involved with anything and they try to extort you. Like it's just terrible.
Well, Tercio, again, as I said, I love him, but he's got an amazing job that pays very well remotely. He lives in like the best part of Peru. So it's like, yeah, he's got everything set up. Like you don't, and as well, Tercio's one of those people that doesn't do stupid shit at night. Like when it gets dark, you know, he likes to read his books. He likes to spend time with his wife and his kid. They stay inside. So it's like, yeah, he's going to be fine. But if you're like a younger guy and you're trying to, you know, do like adventures or, you know, go to discotecas at like 3 a.m, like, yeah, you're in way higher risk of like something bad happening to you. 100%. And yeah, as Jeffrey says here, an egg tax, what the fuck? Colombia needs a Bukele. Like, yeah, that's how most people with common sense feel like when I talk to them here. It's like, yeah, you can say whatever you want. You could say Bukele worked for, you know, all the people that the Puerto Rican was saying, but it's like, shit, I'll take that over like not being able to walk my dog without being worried someone's gonna fucking rob me, which is like the reality that a lot of Colombians live under.
Exactly. Yeah. He has a 92% approval rating. Like, dude, that's insane. That's really high.
Yeah, well, the standards for rulers in Latin America is just so low.
Yeah.
Just like make it safe to like go outside, and like boom, you're loved.
Besides that, though, he's pretty based because he wants to unite all of Central America, like as one country or a union. I think that's pretty good. That's like actually pretty good.
Yeah, like he's not. You can tell like he's not like a boomer dictator of like Latin America's past. Like he has pragmatic goals, and he doesn't have to be autistic about it. Where he needs to do like a USSR communist LARP at the same time, and he's like, he comes off as like very young and hip. He has a lot of support, and like bitches love that. Like let's just be real. Bitches love a young and hip guy that gets shit done. That's what I'd say.
I don't see how it matters if he's Arab, right? Like I don't like why does that matter, right? Like he speaks Spanish. He's obviously not like funneling secrets to Lebanon. I don't think so. He's not like I don't think it should matter, right? Like the DR has an Arab president, and like he I mean, I don't agree with the Dominicans like hating on Haitians so much, but like he's deporting hundreds of thousands of them, right?
Wait, was he like born and raised there?
Yeah.
In El Salvador, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Like I understand if like some dude from like another country like moved to your country and was there for a year and became president. Yeah, I'd be pissed about that shit.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like, I hear about like Arnold Schwarzenegger becoming governor of California, and like, I don't hate him. It's like, damn, like, he lived an impressive life.
But doesn't he like live in California for like 10+ years?
Yeah, he put in his time, obviously.
Yeah. So like I just have a problem with people who just moved to a country and they like, I don't know, they like try to run for office. Some Jew from Israel moves to like America and becomes like a fucking senator after he's like here for like a year.
I mean, Mexico City's literally their mayor is like a Jewish woman whose parents are from like New Jersey. Like that's like way
That's
more
cringe, dog. That's fucking cringe.
embarrassing. Like, how did that happen?
But this is kind of funny. If you look at polls in Mexico, she's the highest likely to become the next president, and she's like a Jew. Like her parents are like immigrants and all this stuff.
From New Jersey.
Yeah, I gotta admit that's a bit weird.
L for Mexicans.
And Mexican nationalists,
Mexican
they'll
nationalism.
have their cope when she's president. Like, but it's
Yeah.
like, who cares? Like, we all knew it was a LARP from the beginning.
With the whole Mexican nationalism thing?
Yeah.
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 No one's gonna learn how to speak Nahuatl. Like, I'm sorry, not gonna happen.
Well, dude, don't shit on my dreams. I actually do want to learn it, but different topic.
I know, but it's just like out of all the priorities, like that should not be like in your top 20.
Well, you guys were talking about earlier with making sure you have your money sources and some good skills laid down. That's a much better way to go about it.
Yeah. What if he wants to be a linguist, dog? Like
messing around with like all this nationalist shit.
It's like,
so
dude, I don't want to
early
hear.
on.
I don't want to hear a poacher talk about learning Nahuatl if like you don't speak fluent, perfect Spanish. Like, you should not even LARP about that if your Spanish isn't like indistinguishable from someone native to Mexico.
Yeah.
No, what if he wants to learn like fucking Latin or something? Shit, you don't even talk anymore.
I mean, Latin can actually be useful if like you're gonna be like a lawyer or like go to medical school. Believe it or not. Like,
Unless you want to be super Catholic.
Latin has legitimately way more uses than like Nahuatl, especially if like you want to read shit about history. Like, you have a lot more shit that you can go into and read if you know how to read actual Latin.
I mean, if you know Spanish, Latin's not that particularly difficult. It's not Latin, or actually even that pronunciation is crap. But learning Latin, if you already know Spanish, is not hard. But yeah, you do have to piggyback off of some kind of Romance language in order to be able to understand it. And
like, I'd rather learn like Portuguese, honestly, and like be able to hang out in Brazil or something.
Yeah.
Brazil doesn't get nearly enough respect, in my opinion. Like, those niggas are just so shit. I said the N-word. They're so like, they're so just like in their own world without worrying about like what other Latinos think about them. To like, it's a level that I really respect.
They got their own little world going on. Gotta respect the hustle.
Like, Argentinians and Mexicans are always obsessed with like what other Latinos think about them.
Yeah, that's. I'm never really sure what the hell to say about it. Maybe some kind of inferiority complex.
Clearly.
Mm. I mean, I can say that at least here in the United States, if you grow up Mexican, you do, depending on where you grow up, you do end up developing some kind of inferiority complex at some level or another.
And it makes sense for historical reasons. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I think it does make sense.
Yeah, like, America buck broke your country like a million times, and your next door neighbor, like, of course, you're gonna feel that way. And like, not only did you get buck broken, but then like the leaders of Mexico were like, please take all of our workers and just like use them to enrich like the most powerful empire on earth. And then now all of these people that they exported out, a lot of times they talk shit about these lower classes of people. They now have kids, and their kids are oftentimes doing way better than like people that are upper middle class in Mexico, and they're super resentful over that now. Because they weren't expecting that. They weren't expecting that the children of these ranchers, picking fruits or working like on roofs or in construction sites, that these kids were going to grow up and be something. But a lot of them are low-key becoming something. And like the government of Mexico and Mexicans in general don't know how to deal with their pochos living way better lifestyles than them now.
I mean, if your parents are going to lay down that much effort to cross the border, and then where you're going to just waste it. Yeah, it's disgraceful.
Yep.
No, it doesn't
Nacionales
necessarily. It doesn't
hitting on
necessarily mean that
pochos.
you have to like blend into their culture or become part of them. It's more like, you know how the Germanic tribes used to like regularly go into Roman lands and just raid, just do that.
Yeah, and it's hard to do because like even if you spend time in Mexico now, like it's increasingly like you see the American influence. That's what I've been told.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
On the border cities, I've been to a few. It's so Americanized, dude. It's depressing. It's
Yeah, I
so
can't
depressing.
imagine.
Yeah.
That's the reality. If a white American can get in a car and be in your town in like 40 minutes, well, it's gonna happen.
Especially because Californians are trying to move out into, middle Mexico, like Mexico City. They're trying to buy up
Yeah,
like property or like rent, and then they're actually starting to push the locals out unintentionally.
yeah, absolutely. And it's like at the same time, like I understand like these Anglo Americans doing that. It's like rent. Who wants to pay like 3-4 grand a month in rent in New York City or California when they went to school, they did everything, and they even have a well-paying job on paper, but everything just costs too much in America. Like I get why they do it. And it's like, yeah, you can hate
Yeah,
on them, and
I don't
obviously it's
blame them.
annoying to see these people in Medellin and Mexico City, but it's like they're there for a reason.
Yeah, like
And
the
they're
fucking ghetto is too expensive for me, dog.
they're more of a temporary annoyance, anyways. I mean, they're there for a short while. They'll be there like maybe a max 10 years, but they'll leave.
Yeah, and if like there's a civil war, like they'll flee en masse. Like it'll always happen. Or you know what I think is gonna happen? I think once this war in Ukraine's over, like a lot of those expats are gonna go there. It's gonna be like it's gonna be perfect. Like think about if you're an expat. This place is gonna be like destroyed from a war with Russia.
No, man,
And
the fucking I'm already telling it. Fucking Wagner Group's gonna go to Niger, dog. They're gonna
no,
fuck
no,
us,
no.
man.
My point is like eventually Ukraine and Russia are going to come to some sort of deal, depending on like who's going to finally win the war. It looks like Russia's winning now, but it's like
Yeah,
depending on
it's
who's going to end up winning, there's going to be an agreement. And after that agreement's done, so many of these expats, these digital nomads, they're going to go to Ukraine. It's going to be poor as hell, just right after a war. And like, what percentage of their young men are like dead or fled the country? Like a giant percentage. You're just gonna have a bunch of poor, blonde women, Slavic women, just there. And yeah, a lot of these expats want easy access to something like that. And I think a lot of them are gonna go to the Ukraine.
Though about 10 years after that, you might expect a huge divorce surge if those
Dude,
girls
in like,
manage to get on over
in
here.
like 3 months.
Hey,
Just watch 90
stranger
Day
things have happened,
Fiance,
eh?
dude.
Yeah, I really wouldn't put it past that happening. Huh.
So
Yo,
see,
Billy, let me ask you another thing. Because I know you live in the blackest part of Colombia, right? Or not the? No, I think Choco is black, right? But one of the
well,
blackest, right?
I live in the blackest like department where that's
Oh,
relevant.
okay.
Choco's like this tiny place where you need to take like 2 airplane rides just to like get to.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But like, would you say that the black Colombians there, do they have their own subculture in the way that
No,
Black Americans do?
no, they don't.
Okay.
They really don't. I mean, like if they did, you the only place where you have anything close to that, and I think Noel can back me up, it's probably Cartagena. And a lot of that, if I had to guess, and Noel can correct me if I'm wrong, is probably due to like Cartagena is like a spot where like Black Americans just pour in for vacation 24/7.
What's the
So like
appeal?
as the
yeah,
appeal is
yeah,
hot Black women that are skinny, and it's like they like that. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
in Colombia,
American
most of the
blacks.
Black women are skinny.
Yeah. Too many Black American women are fucking fat as fuck, dude.
Yeah, the white ones too, but yeah, just
Yeah.
in general, Black women in America are fat. We know this.
Because like,
I mean,
uh,
I've been seeing a lot of these videos from these like passport bro dudes, and there's like a large amount of like black dudes that are now moving out to even like the Philippines and picking up Filipino wives.
Yeah, you see it on like 90 Day Fiance, and like it's funny. Like you'll see like a guy, he'll be like 50 years old, maybe like a retired veteran, something like that, with a pension, and he goes there, and like the women will just like his girl will just openly be like, yeah, he's so tall, he's so ugly, like yeah, but he paid my bills. Like it's so just open about like what this is, and he's like, you know, I don't appreciate that you call me ugly and shit. Like, you know, in my culture, that's disrespectful. And it's like, yeah, in her culture it is too. It's just this is what you signed up for.
Yeah, she just doesn't care, dude.
You can't even speak her language, and like you're some 50-year-old black guy who couldn't pull a girl
Bro, no,
in
man.
America.
No, it's fucking funny because I remember going to the grocery store and like some white dude is like married to like this like fucking like I don't, she was like some sort of Asian, like Southeast Asian girl, and like she would like constantly talk in like her native language and like he wouldn't understand her, but she knew English. She just like she probably was just talking mad shit about him, and he didn't even know.
24/7, yeah, of course. I guarantee you look at her cell phone, like she talks massive shit about him and is like texting like 50 other guys in her own language, like 24/7. That's how it is here.
Or even telling her mom, like, if whatever they have the equivalent of the word gringo, they're like, this girl's has fucking gringo, like, blah, blah, blah. Trying to touch up on me at night and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it typically tends to go. Shit's rough. But I mean, that comes with the territory. If you try to do like that whole pay to play thing, you're not attractive. You're not if you're not a catch in your own country, there's no fucking way you're going to be a catch in a foreign country. Why? Because you got cash. But that shit runs out.
Even if it doesn't, it's like if you have no charisma in her country because you can't speak the language, what do you do? I get it. One thing if you're like a guy from Holland and you go to like some Southeast Asian country and you like actually learn the language and like you're always hanging out with those people. I can see it, especially if like you're not an unattractive guy. I can see it. Like
Well,
these guys usually aren't that,
Yeah, no, that would require earnest effort on their part.
and they don't
Like,
want that.
You ever seen like white guys who end up dating like Mexican chicks, but they actually do make the effort to get to know the family, learn the language, to get to know the culture. Massively respected, way over the guys who are just gonna just short-term temporary because they got the big booty Latino girlfriend shit.
Absolutely, and that's how this works. It's like there's chads and there's incels of like all people, and like the people that go to these places are usually not because like if you're like a legitimate white chad in America, like what do you need to go to Mexico for? You can pull girls in your country already. You can pull a bitch that makes more money than you even if you want to.
Yeah.
It's like so like you're getting a very disproportionate amount of just losers from the United States. And like the girls know that. And like maybe in the 1980s or 90s it wasn't quite the same reputation, but like we have the internet now. We have these stereotypes of the people that come here now, and America's not sending their best to Colombia or to Mexico.
Pulling a Trump there, huh, champ? No, they are most definitely not pulling out their best day. Well, shit. That's right. I mean, and you guys were mentioning earlier before that they're trying to get these girls that are traditional, and you're not gonna get them in the city. You're gonna get them you'll get them in a rancho or in pueblito.
You don't meet her in the tourist nightclub of Cartagena or of Medellin.
Oh yeah, because that's where the traditional girls hang out.
On Tinder, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's some shit. I mean,
Latin America isn't even that traditional. Like that's kind of a bygone
it's
era.
sort of so much American culture at this point.
Colombia feels more sexualized than America, if I'm going to be honest with you.
How so?
I feel like people think more about sex and have sex more than like. The impression I get in the United States is like men and women are more addicted to pornography, and like not leaving their house than like Colombians are. Colombians, yeah, they'll watch pornography too, but like they're also gonna like have sex as well. That's the difference. Americans have just, in large numbers, don't even bother looking for that anymore. They're just addicted to porn. They smoke their weed. They work their job. They go to bed. That's it.
Well, they really can't stand each other anymore at this point.
But Colombia has a really high infidelity rate, right? And it's not just Colombia; it's others in Latin America.
Colombia is
it's
really
not
bad compared to its
it's really
neighbors.
bad.
Colombia and Venezuela both. Like my impression that I got, and Noel got this too when we were visiting, was like Peru seems like women are actually legitimately like way more traditional, I would say. Especially the indigenous girls. And you can tell that they're way more reserved and not trusting of like foreigners as well. That's the thing about the traditional girls. They're not looking for you anyway. They want to look for like the handsome, well-off dude who's respectful and educated in their little pueblo, not from some 50-year-old bald American who's like 200 pounds. And who needs Google Translate to talk to you?
There's a self delusion that like just because you got cash, you're all of a sudden to catch somewhere else because everyone's poor as shit. Because then like the same exact like passport bro guys are the ones that get roasted by their own like women wherever the hell they're from. That say these women are poor, or desperate, and they're uneducated. It's not that they're poor, desperate, and uneducated. It's that you're a free meal. They're not desperate. They're just looking for the sake. They're looking just for fun. Oh, and to answer Noel's question from Mexico, from Zacatecas.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I'm of Mexican ancestry too.
But yeah, I've literally gone to the gym in Colombia and like I saw a dude wearing like a Pornhub shirt. Like they're just like they don't give a shit. They're super sexualized.
Pornhub
shirt, dude.
Yeah, he's got a Pornhub shirt, and he's like chubby too. He's got like he doesn't give a shit.
No. What's funny? I've seen like dudes in like fucking pickup trucks with like "I eat ass" sticker on the fucking back window. Oh, it's fucking weird, dude.
No.
Mhm.
Oh, holy crap. You ever seen these guys? So those of you who have been to Mexico, or maybe you've seen it, if you've ever been to Mexico in a small town, where these guys will show up in their Ford F-150s blasting corridos all volume. And then what ends up happening with them is like in the afternoons or in the evenings, if they're still blasting that music, all the local neighborhood men get together, drag them out of their Ford F-150, and they show them a really good time. And if they don't shape up, they show them another good time until they have to drag them behind their own damn truck. So that's what ends up happening in the rural little areas where you come in here to fuck shit up or vienen a alborotar las mujeres.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if your town is like if they actually have their shit together, like the streets have a way of clearing it out. If your city or town is already shit, like yeah, you're gonna track shit and they're gonna stay there. So it's like I'm not gonna get upset that Americans go to certain spots in Colombia to do shit that was being proudly advertised by Paisas here. It's like no. It's like these guys are like proud of like the drug culture that came from Pablo Escobar, even though it's like cancerous.
Yeah.
Like I can't help you. Yeah. Let's see here. Any other topics that the audience wants to go over, or we can wrap this up in like 10 minutes? Or if
I
you
only
guys
had the one
want to talk
thing.
about
Well, like I've seen this before, where it's either like Hispano nationalism or Ibero nationalism, and I guess if I could leave a little warning is let's try not to turn into Wignets, because that shit's not gonna.
Well, you see the parallels online. It feels like they're copying Wignats like half the time.
Well, it's like that last dude, and I'm not gonna try to talk a bunch of mad shit, but
No.
he is copying all of the shit that you read on like Poll to a T. Like Poll from like 5 years ago, they're all talking about how these are impure races, blah blah. They're coming in to steal our women and give them to Tyrone, and or they'll even deny their own ancestry half the time. Like if you're Hispanic, chances are you're gonna have a black ancestor. So if you don't like African folk, you're out of the ethno state because you can't have them with you. Or oh, these Jews. Well, guess what, champ? If you have any kind of Iberian blood, if you really look into it, chances are you have Sephardic blood. Or if you're from or your family's from like northern Spain, you're gonna have Celtic or Irish or Anglo blood, like Britannic. It just makes everything smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and then where are you left with? You're left with like two people on an island.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing I'll really leave anybody with, unless anyone's got anything else to add to that point. Maybe where don't do purity spirals. Like if anything, I'd say network with each other. Yeah, you're from Argentina, you're from Colombia, you're from El Salvador, Mexico, or from Spain. Like okay, whatever historical beef you got amongst your kind, like whatever, that's fine. It's water under the bridge.
Yeah, with all things being considered, it should be. If you have any emotional intelligence in the slightest, like we have bigger problems at hand than just the petty regionalism. And it's like, yeah, we
Well, I
need to
mean,
find and surround ourselves with ambitious people that want to move up in life. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk massive shit, but like, I want to hang out with people that have like a 10-year plan of like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be successful in this way, I'm working towards this, I'm investing in this. Not I'm in this guy's Discord server and we're talking about like haplogroups all day. I'm just like, I'm tired of that shit.
that's autism.
Damn, boy.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Well, no, you're just circle jerking at that point. If you actually want to make any kind of change whatsoever, go. I mean, look, if you don't have the cash to pursue something retarded like an art degree, if you're going to take out a loan to go get a college degree, go financing. Maybe a business degree, but even then that's kind of an iffy prospect. Engineering, STEM, yeah, they're not necessarily guaranteed fields, but it's that or McDonald's, champ. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and with every day that passes, you feel like, in America at least, that like increasingly it's like either you're really rich or you're just fucking poor at a dead end job. That's like increasingly what things are becoming now. I don't see anything else. I don't see anyone really trending upwards for the most part in large numbers anymore.
No,
It's
I
not
think
it's not the same land that our parents immigrated to.
it's just. I hate to throw the word because it makes it sound like kind of boomerish, but there's some degree of entitlement there, where you think that you're going to just kick back and then accumulate $5 million and raise up your own Hispano nationalist army. You're going to take down pick a tiny South and Central American country. You're going to knock it down. You're going to fight the Anglo from there. Good luck, champ.
I mean, shit, if you can raise $5 million, you're already better off than most people talking about this shit. The problem is these people are doing this and then, you know, they end up living with their parents and they don't have any prospects. That's the problem.
Well, it's a LARP. It's a LARP. They're bored out of their fucking wits and looking to be mad about something, and they found something here. I mean,
like, yeah, I'll network with Ashkenazi Jews. I'll network with Indians. I'll network with Black Americans. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to be something, and not just on a Discord server. That's my difference.
Then I think after that, like if you made your cash, you have your skills, then go ahead and move back to La Patria and build a ranchito. Something, I don't know. Just don't just jerk off in a fucking Discord server all day.
Also, like most Latin Americans, do they even know what Jews are? Like, I don't think they care about like, oh, the Jews own this, like, oh, the Jewish. I think that's more like a European, like Jew JQ thing, right? Like, I don't know.
I would say a lot of Latinos low-key get that American Jews are like super wealthy, but they're not obsessed with it the way like American pochos on Discord are, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like they get it. Like, Jews run Hollywood. Everyone knows that. Like, shit like that, you know? But they don't like make a big deal about it. They're just like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yo, fuck it, dude. If I had the power, I'd run Hollywood too. Fuck
yeah.
If anything, I'd already say that, like,
if I could, 100%.
I say that Spain kind of answered the JQ a lot better than a lot of these poll-tards figured out a long time ago, which is, okay, we'll just baptize them. Call it a day. Like, we don't have to get autistic about this. Just make sure they stay on the wagon for like a couple generations, and then bam, you got like Torquemada.
It's like you want to rant about Zionism, but it's like, who pays your electricity bill? Like, come on. Like, you need to have control over your life before you can just do this escapism all day. And it's like, I don't blame Jews for acting the way that they do. I don't blame Anglos for acting the way that they do. Like, these people and their ancestors put in a lot of hard work, a lot of grit to like create the most powerful world empire on earth. Like, these were people that, you know, settled these tiny little towns in the Great Plains and had to fight Indians 24/7, and they made something out of it. Whether you like it or not, they made something out of it through grit.
So if you want to,
yeah, and they buck broke Mexicans too, right?
Not just Mexico, all of Latin America, they buck broke, but especially Mexico.
Sad but true. If you want to compete with these people, then you essentially have to kind of either you're going to have to pick up the Ashkenazi Jew tactic or just the Anglo tactic of getting good with them and then take, enrich your own people.
I mean, Jewish Americans didn't get rich by like whining about white Anglo-Saxons on Discord.
No, they hustled.
They set up mafia networks. They set up Hollywood. They set up all, the Diamond District, all of these things, and they put a lot of hard work into it, and they finesse these fucking people out of their own country.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna be butthurt over it. Like, congrats, you did a great job. Now let's see if Seth Rogen and his descendants can continue that. I doubt it. I don't think the modern Jewish American like Seth Rogen and his kids are gonna be that special. I think
No,
you're going to see a lot of these people decline and get finessed by more ambitious immigrants of the future, honestly.
they'll
Probably
fume
places
along, maybe like a couple
No,
generations.
no,
whatever
man.
wealth
It's
that,
gonna
like, Danny
be
picked up.
no. It's gonna be the Jewish African like black supremacy, dog. Like they're gonna like team up together, dog. No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. You're seeing in Hollywood. You see like Eric Andre, all these fucking black people are half Jewish, dog. You're gonna see that more common, dog. They're going to be the ones ruin this country in like 50 years.
No. Based off like what the work ethic and the outlook, like the optimism, if you could say, that Americans as a whole generally have, that's just not going to happen. They're going to chug out. They're going to be running on fumes and for a couple of years, and then and I don't think it's going to be the Chinese who are going to be the next great power. My money, if I had to put my money anywhere, so they're going to be Russia, Brazil, South Africa. It's not going to be us. I'll tell you that much.
No, unless more people like Bukele actually can get Latin America shit together. But if that's going to happen, it's going to be things like military coups and things like that. It's not going to be voting for the right people against Petro. It's not going to be any of that shit. It's going to be people that fucking put in a lot of work, actually take over and make something out of the new government.
I'd even say, well, like to touch on your point earlier about, and I don't know if you feel the same way, democracy is just kind of a waste of time. So it's a smoke and mirrors campaign. If you really want to change into these countries, I guess maybe just raise an entire generation of sons to join the military and climb up the ranks. That's about as good as you're going to get to be able to change into these countries in a single generation. But
yeah,
you're not going to do it that
time, not just one lifetime.
I say there's a certain thought process, like an ethos behind a lot of the Hispanic mindset that we all kind of know that democracy is a bit of a joke. That if you really want to change the country, if you want to actually improve situations, you're going to have to join the military and pull Porfirio Diaz. Just snatch the country out from underneath whoever the sitting president is.
Yeah. And I'd be delighted if that happened to Petro, but it's like I don't see it happening. But it's like that's the best hope you have. Because Petro's just, what he's going to do is he's just going to do shitty corruption where he's just going to bribe super poor people to just vote for these people for forever.
Sounds like AMLO.
No,
yeah.
It's all of, it's.
And then our economies collapse. And then we start blaming Americans. Oh, American imperialism. It's like, dude, I get American imperialism, but you got to look inwards to yourself and what mistakes you're making. You can't just blame people all day, right? You can't just do that.
That's why I appreciate the talk that you and Noel had earlier when you're talking about just getting your shit together.
Yeah.
Go make your money. That's the only way out.
And if you want to influence politicians in Latin America, being a millionaire in Miami and donating to politicians, that's gonna have way more of an influence than doing some rally in your backyard in Puerto Rico. I'm sorry, but that is what it is.
You and Phil Jose are gonna overthrow the government with your 9 mil on a scooter. Okay.
And this isn't right after World War I where the world's in depression and then you have all these upset military veterans who can do shit. Things are different now.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same environment. I mean, what's a bunch of pissed off Zoomers? For real, we were straight busting on the government, yo. No. Forget it, dude.
Oh, Zoomers are fucked.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw a green text a long time ago where it's Zoomers, if they were in Vietnam, they're going to be in a helicopter blasting Gucci gang, and they're going to yeet some Vietnamese dude into the forest. that's what you're going to be working with if you want to pull another silly mustache man. No, that's not going to fly. Forget it. Just work hard, make your money, network, gain a valuable ass skill, and then see where it takes you from there. If anything, adopt like I see this from conservative Muslims, which is you can be friendly with them, you can be helpful to the non-Muslim, but don't be their friend. Don't join them. Don't join their desmadre. I'd say that's maybe the best mentality we could probably have.
Yeah, and Persian Americans in general have a very good attitude on this sort of thing. They are much more in touch with who they are, and they're very successful in Los Angeles as a result of doing that.
Well, you were mentioning earlier that you grew up in Chicago, yeah?
Correct.
So did you ever have any interaction with like the Polish folk around here?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Okay. So did any of the Polish kids, if you grew up with them, did they ever go to Polish school?
I think some did, but generally speaking, no. They just went to the same Catholic school as me.
Okay. All right. Oh, so you went to a Catholic school. Okay, so because I went to public school, and what ended up happening with a lot of these Polish kids is that on the weekends, their parents would take them over to Polish school, and they'd learn their history, their language. That would be a model to copy.
Absolutely, yeah. That is something. Chinese people have their own thing. Chinese people are like 10% of like the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign population. Not Chinese Americans, just people straight from China. Like, see, these people have plans that go like hundreds of years into the future. That like we just don't.
No, you gotta play that long game.
And they're doing well. They're doing very well at their game. They play all sides, but at the end of the day, they know it's for China.
As long as they advance. I mean, I respect the hustle. Gotta respect the hustle.
100%. All right. Well, we're 3.5 hours in. I'm just gonna call it a stream.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Do another video for another year or so. See you guys later.
Yep. Thanks, Guillermo.
Peace out.
Peace out.